Chapter 573 Millions of Refugees? 2. Today is the third day. This rest period passed so quickly. It will be fine in another 7 days. Previous poster. I suggest that you give the Lord a winter break. Tomorrow is the King of 10,000 Kings event. I'm starting to feel nervous again. Every time the Supreme Will appears, a large number of cerulean planet lords will definitely die. I hope fewer lords die this time. It's best if I'm not the one who dies. I have 1,000 soldiers under my command now. I wonder if I can survive this King of 10,000 Kings event. 1,000 soldiers are alright. I suggest that they be mercenaries for the indigenous countries. This way, they can also freeload their training resources. Haha, that's what I did. I only have a little more than 1,000 soldiers under my command, and most of them are new recruits. They almost don't have any battlefield combat experience. Later, I sent 500 new recruits over to be mercenaries for the native kingdom. When they returned, I felt like all of them had become elite soldiers. I'm short of soldiers now. Most importantly, I'm short of weapons and skill books. Fuck. The drop rate of this high continent is really a scam. I've tried it. On average, 100 monsters can only drop one equipment or skill book. What kind of trash drop rate is this? Indeed, this drop rate is even crazier than anything I've ever played. I want skill books, equipment, cozy up to someone powerful, all kinds of things. Zhou looked at the chat content on the World Channel. His originally happy mood from obtaining the bloodline of the original spirit race calmed down a little. Tomorrow is the King of 10,000 Kings event. Fortunately, the enemy kingdoms around me have been cleaned up. Otherwise, I would have to guard against their sneak attacks while I carry out my activities. As for the Ice Demon Kingdom and those people of foreign races, I only defeated them once yesterday. For the time being, they shouldn't rashly send troops to start a war with me, unless they know my background. Zhou thought. Today was his founding ceremony, so he did not plan to send troops out to fight again. As the protagonist, he was destined to be very busy, and would definitely not have time to go out. Moreover, it would not be good to send troops on a day like the founding ceremony. In any case, one day was not a problem. He would treat it as a vacation for himself, the soldiers, and the subjects. Let everyone relax for a day. It would not be too late to continue developing tomorrow. At the thought of this, Zhou felt much more relaxed. Then, he thought of the lords on the World Channel regarding the need for skill books and equipment. I hope selling these skill books and equipment this time can earn back all the money I just spent on buying the original spirit race bloodline. Even half is good enough, Zhou thought. Then, he immediately opened the marketplace and placed 100 million skill books and 200 million equipment on it. As soon as such a large number of skill books and equipment entered the marketplace, they instantly attracted the attention of a large number of lords and quickly rose to the first place on the browsing list. The lords on the World Channel were once again amazed by the generosity of the King of the Blazing Sun. Zhou did not care about this, even though it's the holidays, but we still have to do what needs to be done. After closing the marketplace interface, he stood up and walked towards the Gate of Summoning. In front of the Gate of Summoning, Zhou looked at the scene in front of him. A text notification appeared. Prompt. Do you want to summon immediately? Yes. The next second, the Gate of Summoning suddenly lit up with a bright white light. Then a large number of subjects walked out. Soon, the 4,000 new subjects walked out of the Gate of Summoning. Greetings, my lord. X4000 all the new subjects said respectfully. Welcome to Blazing Sun City. Zhou smiled. Then, he asked all the professionals to stand up, and realized that he had summoned 235 professionals this time. There were 29 more professionals than usual. Then he began to check the information of these professional subjects. Among the 206 professional subjects were 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Martial Master, 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Puteo Soldiers, 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Demon Warlock, 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Blacksmith, and 2 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Architects. The rest were Diamond Tier Elementary Grade, and below life professionals, and combat professionals. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. It felt good to summon 6 talents attracted by his reputation rating a day. Back then, when Zhao Changshu first arrived, he was only a white platinum tier advanced grade architect, as a talent attracted by his reputation rating. Among the subjects he summoned normally, there were 2 diamond tier intermediate grade architects, not to mention the other 4 diamond tier intermediate grade professionals. Looking at it this way, he has really improved a lot recently. Zhou smiled, but there was no pride. He knew that he still had a long way to go. The achievement he had now was nothing compared to his goal. Then, he asked the staff beside him to arrange the work of these new subjects. Just as he was about to bring the soldiers to clean up the time ruins, a soldier suddenly rushed over from afar and came in front of him. Your Majesty, many refugees came from afar and said that they want to join our Blazing Sun Kingdom and become subjects of our Blazing Sun Kingdom. He panted and his eyes were wide open, as if he had seen an extremely shocking scene. Zhou was a little surprised. He had the white silver tier lord talent, Embrace of the Conqueror. Due to his reputation, hundreds or even thousands of refugees would come from afar to join his territory every day. Wasn't this very normal? Why was he so flustered? Was he a newcomer? It's okay. Just accept them as subjects of our country, Zhou replied casually, not paying much attention to this matter. Your Majesty, it's not that we don't want to accept it. The situation is really beyond our control. We don't know how to deal with it. Vice City Lord Zheng specially asked me to come over and invite Your Majesty to take a look. The soldier said. Zhou was stunned. Uncle Zheng asked for me to go over? Let's go. Zhou changed his mind and immediately said, if Zheng Yuanqi really asked him to come over, something was probably wrong. What's going on? Zhou was puzzled. What sort of problems could the refugees cause? Zhou took the Starry Night spaceship and arrived at the city wall of the Supreme Defense. The reason why he took the spaceship was not because Zhou was lazy, but because the current Blazing Sun King was too big. The territory that his upgraded territory increased was not the territory of the entire kingdom, but only the area of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. How big was the Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Blazing Sun Kingdom now? The answer: a total of 80 million square kilometers. In the past, the surface area of the Earth he was on was only 510 million square kilometers. The area of the entire Blazing Sun Kingdom alone had already reached 1/6 the size of Earth. It sounded exaggerated. However, in the high continent that could accommodate the lords of all races fighting each other, such a small area was probably equivalent to the surface area of a grain of sand in the desert. It was precisely because the current size of the Blazing Sun Kingdom was too exaggerated that Zhou came over on the Starry Night. When he climbed up the city wall and saw the refugees under the city wall, he was immediately dumbfounded by the scene in front of him. Fuck. What's going on? Your Majesty, do you know why I had no choice but to invite you over? Zheng Yuanqi, who had been waiting at the side for a long time, could not help but smile bitterly when he heard Zhou's words. Zhou said nothing. His gaze landed outside the city wall on the endless tide of refugees. Among these refugees, most of them actually looked to have good living conditions. They looked like they were wearing gold and silver. Many refugees even emitted an obvious extraordinary tier aura. Why are you refugees when you're so rich and are at the extraordinary tier? Zhou was shocked. They're all refugees? Zhou could not help but ask. Yes. Zheng Yuanqi answered honestly. How many are there? No statistics, but according to my estimate, there are probably 1 million refugees. Zhou, is the world crazy or am I crazy? How could there be 1 million refugees? Is there a large-scale war nearby? Is that why a large number of subjects were displaced and looking for a new home? Zhou was filled with question marks. Chapter 574 4 million recruits. 3 extraordinary tier heroes. Have you sent someone to these refugees to ask them why they're here? Zhou asked. I've just sent someone to ask. They should be back soon. Zheng Yuanqi said. Zhou nodded. The 2 of them did not say anything else. Instead, they continued to look at the million migrants in front of them. Zhou realized something strange as he looked on. That was most of the refugees were young people. and most of them were young women, occupying more than 80% of the refugees. What's going on? Zhou became even more puzzled. In his understanding, most of the refugees were elderly or young men, and there were also women. But the ratio had never been so high. Women did not have the advantage in exploration after all. Not every woman who was an extraordinary tier professionals who could withstand the test of physical hardship from exploration. Zheng Yuanqi had clearly realized this too, and the confusion in his eyes increased. He did not let them wait for long. A soldier quickly ran over and said respectfully to them, "Your Majesty, Vice City Lord Zheng, I just understood why they collectively came to our Blazing Sun Kingdom to become subjects." "Shoot," Zhou said. From their answers, other than a small number of refugees, who came to our Blazing Sun Kingdom to settle down because of the war suffering and the reputation of our Blazing Sun Kingdom, most of the other refugees, especially those who are mainly young women, came to our Blazing Sun Kingdom to become subjects because, when the soldier said this, his expression was a little strange. He wanted to laugh, but he was also a little proud. It's because they want to look better. They seem to have heard that His Majesty made all the subjects in the country beautiful and handsome. After this matter spread to foreign countries, these foreign subjects, especially foreign women, rushed over overnight. Zhou. They came all the way to our Blazing Sun Kingdom just to look good, young and vigorous. Zheng Yuanqi felt a little emotional. Even though he was a little surprised, he felt that this matter was reasonable. Everyone loved beauty. Moreover, His Majesty's ability to make the entire country beautiful was indeed enviable. He suddenly thought of something and became excited. "Your Majesty," he looked at Zhou and said excitedly, "I think the arrival of these subjects is a good thing. The number of male subjects in our Blazing Sun Kingdom accounts for more than 90% of the entire country's subjects, because soldiers originally occupied the democratic territories. This ratio actually hasn't improved much even with the addition of the Aurora Kingdom subjects. I've been worried about this for a long time. I've previously thought of adopting some good immigration policies to migrate female subjects from other human countries to our country. However, other than the Aurora Kingdom, the other human countries are too far from our Blazing Sun Kingdom. Without the help of the spatial teleportation array, it's very difficult to immigrate a large number of female subjects to our Blazing Sun Kingdom in a short period of time and resolve the serious imbalance in the number of subjects in our country. But now that His Majesty has the means to make the subjects beautiful, this problem has been easily resolved. The million female refugees in front of me are the best proof. And this is only the beginning. The fact that my appearance can be upgraded and optimized by becoming a subject of our Blazing Sun Kingdom has only just spread. Nearly 1 million female refugees came over in just one night. Then as time passes and the range of the news becomes wider, more and more female subjects will definitely come to our Blazing Sun Kingdom every day. Moreover, there will definitely not be a decrease in the number of refugees in the short term. In the future, there might be tens or even hundreds of millions of refugees coming to our Blazing Sun Kingdom in a day. In the future, our Blazing Sun Kingdom will no longer have to worry about the source of female subjects. The more Zheng Yuanqi spoke, the more excited he became. It was as if he could already see billions of refugees crazily pouring into the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Zhou was also attracted by Zheng Yuanqi's future. Uncle Zheng is right. This is indeed very likely to happen. In that case, the problem of the Blazing Sun Kingdom's excessive male vibe could indeed be resolved. Quickly arrange for them to become subjects of our Blazing Sun Kingdom. Thinking of this, Zhou immediately said, "I've already arranged for more than 10,000 officials to resolve this matter before His Majesty came. It's just that there are too many refugees, so it doesn't look obvious for a while." Zheng Yuanqi said with a smile. Zhou nodded. He looked at the million subjects under the city wall and sighed even more. He did not expect a mere green bronze tier lord talent beauty actually brought him so many benefits. TSK. It was extremely likely that he would attract 1 million subjects in a day, and more than 100 million subjects would join in the future. Even diamond tier and extraordinary tier lord talents could not achieve this effect of attracting subjects. He did not expect the Lord talent he did not care about to be a treasure. Moreover, with the addition of so many female subjects and the number of male soldiers in his country, the green bronze tier Lord talent, Peach Luck, would also be of great use. Chapter 575 4 million recruits. 3 extraordinary tier heroes. 2 My God. These 2 Lord talents are really a perfect match. Thinking of this, Zhou became even happier thinking of this. He looked at the million subjects below and thought of something. Yes, only women with rich family backgrounds, or who are extraordinary tier themselves, or both have the ability to come to the Blazing Sun Kingdom overnight. TSK. A large group of rich and beautiful women have arrived. A smile appeared on Zhou's face. The single men in his territory were in luck. What a coincidence they're here. It just so happens to be in time for our Blazing Sun Kingdom's founding ceremony. Zheng Yuanqi also sighed. When will the founding ceremony begin? Zhou asked. The auspicious hour is 10 a.m. Zheng Yuanqi said respectfully. Let me know when the time arrives. Zhou said and turned to leave. Then, he led the soldiers to clean up the time ruins, went to the golem lair, and summoned the 126 golems today. Finally, he arrived at the monster ranches. He looked at the monster ranches in front of him. Currently, with the number of ranches reaching 50, and the monster ranches nurturing 50,000 monsters each, the total number of monsters nurtured has already reached 2.5 million. Among them, there were 2 monster ranches that nurtured the black-tailed fog scorpion and produced poison crossbow soldier recruitment books and clash change certificates. There were 2 monster ranches that nurtured undead knights and produced aurora cavalry recruitment books and clash change certificates. There were 3 monster ranches that nurtured withered trees and produced tree core gems and jade sun tree seeds, for were used to cultivate the iron-eating bear to produce its pet eggs, nurture the mechanical fear falcon, and produce 4 monster ranches each with the fear falcon wings and the fear falcon 3 radar. There were 24 monster ranches that nurtured violent storm demon spirits and produced kingdom-level soldier types, violent storm spirit recruitment books, and clash change certificates. This was the current situation of the monster ranches. Zhou did not waste his breath and began to lead his troops to clean up the monster ranch and extracted all looks. In terms of the mist cores, he had obtained a total of 17.5 million green bronze tier mist cores, 10.5 million white silver tier mist cores, 7 million yellow gold tier mist cores, 6,125,000 white platinum tier mist cores, 2,537,500 diamond tier mist cores, and 87,500 extraordinary tier mist cores. There were also more than 14 million soldier type class change certificates, 1,375,000 king of yellow gold recruitment books, 155,620 poison crossbow soldier recruitment books, 960 elemental archer recruitment books, 257,595 aurora cavalry recruitment books, 3 million violent storm spirit recruitment books, 215 fragments of the Proof of Legion, 1,201,500 True Faith Tier Scarlet Crystals, 835,100 Pious Tier Scarlet Crystals, 463,300 Fanatic Tier Scarlet Crystals, more than 1,500 White Platinum Tier and Yellow Gold Tier Mount Contracts, 200,000 Iron-Eating Bear Pet Eggs, 200,000 Fear Falcon Wings and Fear Falcon 3 Radar, 6 million units of original gold. As for the other loots, there was no need to describe them. Zhou looked at the loots, and his gaze landed on the soldier types almost immediately. When he saw so many soldier type recruitment books, he could not suppress the smile on his face. Haha, he laughed out loud. A total of 4,789,175 soldier-type recruitment books. When they were recruited from the Gate of Summoning later, there would be a total of 4,789,175 new subjects. Oh my god! He only had a total of 5,383,863 soldiers under his command. This was almost equivalent to the total military strength of the new Blazing Sun Kingdom. In total, there would be 10,173,038 soldiers. In the outside world, this was almost comparable to the total military strength of 5 veteran beginner kingdom. Compared to the newly established beginner kingdom, it was equivalent to the total military strength of 10 newly promoted beginner kingdoms, including the more than 4 million troops of the Star Alliance. The military strength he could control was almost 20 million. Previously, the people of Foreign Race Alliance that Floyd had created only had about this number. And that was the allied army of 18 people of foreign race kingdoms. He had actually already reached it. Even Zhou was shocked by the speed at which his strength increased. Then he was pleasantly surprised and excited, as expected of a monster ranch that had leveled up twice in a row. This improvement really did not disappoint me. He brought these 4 million recruitment books to the gate of summoning, and spent the Miss Corps to recruit all 4 million new recruits at once without hesitation. Soon, more than 4 million recruits appeared neatly in front of Zhou. "Greetings, Your Majesty." More than 4 million recruits roared in unison. It was so loud that it shook the world. When the female subject who had just joined the Blazing Sun Kingdom heard this voice, her body went limp. It was unknown if it was because she was frightened or for some other reason. "Since you've come to the Blazing Sun Kingdom, you're our people from now on. As the king of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, I, Zhou, guarantee that I won't mistreat you." Zhou looked at the 4 million new recruits, and was in an extremely good mood. He, who rarely spoke at this time, also said a few words to these recruits. The recruits were also very excited. Even though they had just arrived at the Blazing Sun Kingdom, they could tell from the surrounding people that they had joined a powerful kingdom. After all, that upright aura and confident and proud gaze could not be deceived. Then, these recruits were brought by Yin and the others to join the Blazing Sun Army. At this moment, Zheng Yuanqi walked over with 12 people. "Your Majesty," Zheng Yuanqi said respectfully. "Greetings, Your Majesty." Seeing this, the 12 people behind him also said respectfully. Zhou nodded. "Who are these people?" He looked at the 12 people behind Zheng Yuanqi. "Your Majesty, they are especially outstanding subjects that I discovered during the process of accepting new subjects. 3 of them have extraordinary identities. That's why I wanted to bring them over for Your Majesty to see." Zheng Yuanqi replied. Zhou looked at the 12 people seriously again. Soon his eyes lit up. This was because he realized that 3 of them actually emitted the faint aura of heroes. Zhou immediately understood. These should be the 3 extraordinary tier heroes who had been rewarded by the Lord Talent, Embrace of the Conqueror, in his Conqueror Kingdom. As for the other 9 people, he glanced at the message. He realized that they were 9 extraordinary tier lifestyle professionals. These should be the 9 reputation rating talents, rewarded by the 3 Lord announcements on the Cerulean planet. After thinking it through, a smile appeared on his face. "Welcome to the Blazing Sun Kingdom. This king believes that this king's country will definitely not disappoint you," Zhou said. The 12 of them hurriedly replied without any arrogance. Even though they were rare talents, with 3 of them having extraordinary tier hero slots, they immediately realized that there were many capable people in the Blazing Sun Kingdom after they entered. It was not rare to see other epic tier talents, or even other epic tier heroes. How could they be proud? However, this did not make them disappointed. Instead, it made them even more excited, feeling that joining the Blazing Sun Kingdom was the right choice. Everyone hoped that the country they were in was a powerful country after all. The king of the Blazing Sun in front of them made them even more shocked and impressed. They had already heard about it before they came. This king of the Blazing Sun, who owned the Blazing Sun Kingdom, not only had many capable people under his command, but he was also a super fierce person. The news of him killing 7 heroes of the people of foreign race alone with his spear had already spread. There were even legendary tier people. In the entire Blazing Sun Kingdom, the human king of the Blazing Sun was the one with the strongest combat strength. There were real battle results as evidence after all. And such a fierce person actually spoke so kindly. When communicating with them, he did not have any arrogance from above, making people feel like they were bathing in a spring breeze. This was simply too rare. With such a monarch around, and also so many fierce people supporting this monarch. The future of the Blazing Sun Kingdom would be bright if nothing went wrong. Everyone sighed in their hearts. Chapter 576 31 Heroes 1. Zhou looked at the 12 people in front of him, especially the 3 heroes with extraordinary tier slots. There was an irrepressible smile on his face. At this moment, 11 more existences appeared in the distance. Among them, 6 were humans and 5 were fog monsters. At this moment, their bodies emitted a strong heroic aura. "Greetings, Your Majesty." After they arrived in front of Zhou, they immediately knelt on one knee and said respectfully and fanatically. Seeing their attitude, the 3 extraordinary tier heroes, who had just joined the Blazing Sun Kingdom, were immediately stunned. Then they were deeply amazed. Was this still a newly established human kingdom? Not to mention the heroes they had just seen along the way. What was going on with the 11 heroes in front of them? Since when did heroes, an existence with an extremely high status, start to be sold wholesale like cabbages? Shouldn't it be normal for a new beginner kingdom to only have 3 heroes at best? The scene before them, if they did not understand the situation, they would probably think that they had come from an old intermediate kingdom, or even a new advanced kingdom. At the same time, Zhou looked at the 11 heroes kneeling on one knee and nodded. Then he smiled and said, "It seems that your hero inheritances have been accepted very smoothly. How can we disappoint Your Majesty?" The 11 heroes said respectfully, "Not bad." Zhou smiled. These 11 heroes were not born for any other reason. They were personally created by Zhou. Yesterday, he led the army and killed 11 heroes of the people of foreign races on the battlefield of the People of Foreign Race Alliance Army. After that, he extracted the 11 hero inheritance secret manuals from their bodies. After bringing them back to the capital of the Blazing Sun, Zhou almost immediately handed them to Bai Yun, Wuxia, and the other main generals, and asked them to reward the top 11 soldiers with the highest military merits, according to the performance of the soldiers on the battlefield yesterday, regardless of birth, race, position, or qualifications. Only in terms of military merits. This created the 11 new heroes in front of him. Among them, the lowest was a hero with an epic tier slot, and the highest was a hero with a legendary tier slot. Their strengths were also at the extraordinary tier and epic tier. With such slots and strength, they were enough to be a pillar of the country, even in the intermediate kingdom, or even an advanced kingdom. If word got out, it would probably shock the living beings of countless races in the outside world. Zhou was naturally quite happy. The number of heroes under his command had already reached 31 with these 11 new heroes, and the 3 heroes, who had just joined the extraordinary tier slots. How could that beginner kingdom have such a strong reserve of heroes? Not to mention that there were still 3 hero inheritance manuals that had yet to be exchanged for in his military merit exchange system. If the 3 heroes of the Aurora Kingdom were willing to join him, they would be 3 more heroes. I can't be proud. Even though I'm developing well now, I'm still far inferior to an empire like the Elven Empire that has hundreds of heroes. Not to mention a higher level country. And at the moment, as a kingdom level lord faction, intermediate kingdoms, or even advanced kingdoms are also qualified to attack me. Who knows if any heaven-defying intermediate kingdom, or even advanced kingdom has a faction like mine, or even stronger. Zhou thought to himself. The arrogance that had just risen in his heart immediately dissipated. It was not that he did not want to be arrogant. There was no benefit in being arrogant in this dangerous world. There was nothing wrong with being cautious. Go and prepare. Let's all participate in this king's founding ceremony later. This king doesn't want the enemies in the outside world to know for the time being that I have so many heroes under my command. Zhou said. In a while, as the hosts, they would definitely hold a military parade to show their strength to the guests at the founding ceremony. However, Zhou was naturally not stupid enough to expose all his strength at the founding ceremony, just because he wanted to show off. He just had to show the strength he had revealed previously again. As for these new heroes in front of him, let them keep a low profile for the time being. Yes, Your Majesty, the 14 heroes said respectfully. Then, He was taken away by Zheng Yuanqi to arrange their residence and positions. At the same time, just as the capital of the Blazing Sun was preparing for the founding ceremony, in a catacomb hundreds of kilometers away, 7 people of foreign races of different races gathered here. They have one thing in common. Their bodies emitted the pressure of heroes. At this moment, 6 of the 7 heroes were looking in the direction of the Blazing Sun Kingdom in the distance, their eyes filled with aggro and coldness. Our kingdom lost heroes and 1 million troops in battle, and the entire kingdom fell because of this. The Lord of the Blazing Sun actually held a founding ceremony in the capital. My son was killed by the king of the Blazing Sun with a spear. This enmity is irreconcilable. I really want to eat his flesh raw. Damn the king of the Blazing Sun, he'll destroy his country one day. The 6 heroes of the people of foreign race said angrily. Only the last hero sat on a huge rock, looking calmly and coldly in the direction of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. It was about 10 meters tall, and had a humanoid body that was thin. Its limbs were slender, and its entire body was covered in an ice blue ice crystal. Even its eyes were ice blue, and its body emitted a faint cold aura. Chapter 577 31 Heroes. 2. It was a legendary tier hero from the Intermediate Kingdom, the Ice Demon Kingdom. Ice Blood Ghost Spike Arno. Why wait until the future? Well, cause a scene at their founding ceremony and embarrass him, the new king today. You can use the random teleportation scroll I gave you to leave after causing a scene. No matter how strong this king of the Blazing Sun is, can he chase you billions of miles away? Don't worry about your safety. Just cause destruction to your heart's content. Arno said coldly. It was ranked within the top 5 even in the Ice Demon Kingdom. She actually looked down on His Majesty for arranging for her to come here to deal with the king of a new beginner kingdom. However, when she thought of the other party's results, she felt a little more fervent. The fact that this king of the Blazing Sun can kill 7 heroes of the people of foreign race on the battlefield by himself is definitely not because he's very strong. It must be because he has a treasure that can allow him to fight above his level. Perhaps it's a treasure rewarded by the Supreme, well, after he became the strongest lord of all races in the previous event. The treasures on him will be mine as long as I kill him. When the time comes, my status in the Ice Demon Kingdom will definitely increase greatly. I might even be able to use that treasure to peep at the path of a god and step into the god spirit slot. At that time, the Ice Demon Kingdom will respect me. The more Arno thought about it, the more excited she became. She wished she could fly to the king of the Blazing Sun now, kill him, and obtain his treasures. However, she was still there. She was quite calm, and knew to be cautious at all times. In the High Continent, there were not many cases of low-level professionals being killed by low-level professionals because they relied on their high realm. Therefore, even though it looked down on the other party, it still decided to deal with it with all its might. Arno looked at the 6 heroes of the people of foreign race. These 6 heroes of the people of foreign races came from 6 people of foreign race kingdoms. They were the 6 kingdoms in the people of foreign races alliance army. As for the other kingdoms and factions that participated in the people of foreign races allied army, they were terrified by the results of the king of the Blazing Sun. When they heard that the Ice Demon Kingdom wanted to deal with the king of the Blazing Sun again, they did not want to send heroes to help in the battle at all. They only dared to come over to today's matter because of their aggro and benefits. What did you prepare? Arno glanced at the 6 heroes of the people of foreign race and asked calmly. When the other heroes heard this, they immediately told her the methods they had prepared for today. Arno listened calmly. As legendary tier heroes of the Intermediate Kingdom, these methods that extraordinary tier and epic tier slots regarded as their strongest trump cards were actually just ordinary trump cards to him. She only really perked up its spirit after hearing the methods prepared by the 2 heroes of the people of foreign race. These 2 heroes of the people of foreign race came from the Demon Thunder Kingdom and the Spiritual Goo Kingdom respectively. The former prepared a myriad thunder violent storm magic forbidden spell scroll with the power of a mid-level deity tier elementary grade. It was said that this was a mid-level deity tier forbidden spell scroll that the other party's founding emperor the demon ape king, had sacrificed himself and fused many deity tier materials before he died. The hero of the spirit goo kingdom brought a low-tier deity-level death curse blood goo. Even though this death curse blood goo was only a low-level deity and looked weaker than the myriad thunder violent storm magic forbidden spell scroll of the demon thunder kingdom, this death curse blood goo contained a complete law skill. Law skills were nothing. Everyone present was from the veteran beginner kingdom, and Arno was from the veteran intermediate kingdom. It seemed that the kingdom's level was very low. It could only come into contact with extraordinary tier, epic tier, and legendary tier powers. However, they had existed in the high continent for hundreds or thousands of years. Who didn't have a trump card that could fight above their level and intimidate the enemy country? Even though the law skill was high-end in their eyes, it was at most a normal national treasure, and not a rare national treasure. However, when the hero of the spiritual goo kingdom said the nature of this law skill, the expressions of all the heroes present, including Arno, immediately changed. All the heroes of the people of foreign races looked at the blood-colored worm in fear, as if this worm contained extreme terror. While Arno was terrified, greed flashed in her eyes. If not for the fact that she was wary of the kingdom's orders, and that her family bloodline was still in the kingdom, she would have given up on this mission and snatched this little worm away. As expected of the spiritual goo kingdom, with the strangest methods. I didn't expect you to even nurture goo worms that contain the instant death law skill. Arno forcefully retracted the greed in her eyes and probed with a faint smile. The ancestors of our spiritual goo kingdom were once a branch of the myriad goo empire. This death curse blood insect was also passed down by the ancestors. There's only this one left. Moreover, only clansmen like me who contain the bloodline of the myriad goo empire can barely control it. Other life forms without the bloodline of the myriad goo empire can't control this death curse blood goo. If they forcefully control it, they will suffer the backlash of the death curse blood goo. The heroes of the spiritual goo kingdom said calmly. The other heroes were a little disappointed when they heard this. Arno barely dismissed the idea of snatching the death curse blood goo. After seeing the expressions of the heroes of the people of foreign race, the hero of the spiritual goo kingdom heaved a sigh of relief on the surface. It took a huge risk to bring this only death curse blood goo out, because it wanted to avenge the chief high priest of the spiritual goo kingdom, the hero of the people of foreign race, who was killed by the king of the blazing sun on the battlefield of the people of foreign race alliance. Emoya and her were biological sisters who had grown up together. Their relationship was extremely deep. After hearing that Emoya had been killed by the king of the blazing sun, she decided to bring the spirit goo kingdom's treasure, the death curse blood goo, over. Now, she only hoped that she could personally kill the king of the blazing sun and avenge her sister. Of course, she wanted to fight for some benefits for her country at the same time. Let me make things clear first. If I can use the death curse blood goo to kill that king of the blazing sun, I can give up on the race divine artifact after the blazing sun kingdom is destroyed. But I want 30% of the blazing sun kingdom's wealth on behalf of the spiritual goo kingdom. She said coldly. Of course, if you can really kill the king of the blazing sun, the first credit will be yours. 30% of his wealth is nothing. That's right. Arno and the other heroes of the people of foreign race agreed. No one knew each other's true thoughts. Arno stood up after they discussed the specific actions again. Okay, I'll repeat the goal of this operation. Our main goal is to destroy the king of the blazing sun's founding ceremony. At the same time, we have to try our best to test the king of the blazing sun's methods. Our secondary goal is to kill him. Of course, if we can really kill the king of the blazing sun, the secondary and main targets don't matter. The main goal is to serve the secondary goal after all. Arno said. Got it. The 6 heroes of the people of foreign race nodded. Then get ready to move. Okay. Yes. At the same time, in the blazing sun kingdom, intermediate grade lord's paradise, it was 9:30. There was still half an hour before the founding ceremony officially began. Zhou, who had just changed into the emperor dragon robe and was about to go to the venue of the founding ceremony, suddenly felt an inexplicable sense of danger. This warning sign was very clear. and it seemed to be not far from him. Zhou narrowed his eyes slightly. He knew that this was because his danger prediction had been triggered. An enemy wants to harm me. He was not flustered. From the time he rose to now, he had led his troops to kill countless opponents, so he had accumulated many enemies. It was not impossible for him to understand why these enemies chose to attack him on such an important day. But we can't let rat shit ruin such a big day today. Zhou muttered. A treasure suddenly appeared in front of him with a thought. It was the treasure he had obtained from the Aurora Kingdom, the Great Thousand Rivers and Mountains painting. Chapter 578 Arno's Divine Outfit 1. Let me see, where are you guys? Zhou looked at the Great Thousand Rivers and Mountains painting in front of him, and focused his spirit in the direction given by danger prediction. The next second, his vision darkened, and a new scene quickly appeared around him. He looked at the scenery. There were neat jade sun trees growing around this place, and in the distance, there was a small city. On the city wall of the city was a stone tablet with the words, Jade Sun City written on it. It's actually in Jade Sun City. Zhou remembered this place. The place where Jade Sun City was originally a regional territory called the Withered Forest Plains. It was the source of the Monster Ranch monster, the Withered Demon Tree. As for Jade Sun City, it was originally called Deadwood Village. Later on, after joining the Blazing Sun territory, they were heavily nurtured because everyone was very loyal to Zhou. Some subjects were assigned to their original residences. Not long after this group of people worked together to build it, Jade Sun City was born. He took a rough look and realized that the subjects of Jade Sun City were not harmed. Then, he looked in the direction of the danger prediction perception. Then he flew over. After a while he arrived at a catacomb. An astonishing perception was immediately released. He saw the heroes of the Ice Demon Kingdom, and the other 6 heroes of the people of foreign race not long after. At the same time, he knew their goal and origins from their occasional discussions. So it's the enemy behind the people of Foreign Race Alliance Army. I haven't even looked for you yet you're here again. Zhou's expression turned cold when he saw this. At this moment, Arno the Ice Blood Ghost Spike seemed to have vaguely sensed something. She suddenly turned to look in Zhou's direction and said sternly. The other 6 heroes of the people of foreign race were shocked and hurriedly looked over. However, she did not see anything. Did Lord Arno discover something? A hero of the people of foreign race asked in surprise. Weird. I vaguely sensed a life form spying on us just now. In the end, I turned around and didn't find anything. Could it be my imagination? Arno frowned. The other heroes were also shocked when they heard this. They hurriedly released their perception to observe their surroundings. In the end, they naturally did not discover anything. They did not say anything when they saw this, thinking that Lord Arno was being a little paranoid. Arno did not say anything, but there was a hint of confusion between her eyebrows. Could she really be overly suspicious? In the intermediate grade Lord's Paradise, the Blazing Sun Kingdom, this hero of the Ice Demon Kingdom is quite sharp. My consciousness was almost discovered. Zhou retracted his gaze from the Great Thousand Rivers and Mountains painting and thought calmly. However, it was actually fine to be discovered. When he saw these guys, it was destined that these enemies of the people of foreign races would die. With a thought, Zhou quickly gathered Bai Yun, Wu Xian, Qi Xiantian, Suan Guiqiao, and 10 other subordinates through the army interface. Greetings, Your Majesty. Bai Yun, Wu Xian, and the others said respectfully. Zhou nodded calmly. Who's in charge of patrolling the safety of the capital? He said. Your Majesty. It's the Soul Arrow Wu Tuesday. Bai Yun said respectfully. Let him receive his own punishment after the founding ceremony. Temporarily set it as a small punishment. The enemy is already in front of us, but he hasn't discovered it yet. What's the use of this patrol? Zhou snorted. Even though he knew that it would be very difficult for Wu Tu to discover the methods of those extraordinary tier, epic tier, and even legendary tier heroes with his diamond tier strength, however, the fact was that he did not discover the enemy. He had to be punished. The rewards and punishments were orderly. This was one of his most important principles as a lord. However, He also showed mercy and made it a small punishment. This punishment was too small. At most, he would be demoted from his official position and fined. Otherwise, if it was another country, removing his official position and demoting him to a commoner was a light punishment for such a security lapse to happen on an important day like the founding ceremony. It was even possible to directly order him to commit suicide to atone for his crimes. The heroes also knew that Zhou was benevolent. No one pleaded for mercy for Wu Tuesday. Instead, they praised the Lord's benevolence. Come with me. Let's meet these friends of the people of foreign race. Zhou emphasized the word friends. Yes, the soldiers accepted the order. Seeing this, Zhou used the green bronze tier lord talent, returned to the city, and disappeared with everyone. At the same time, in the catacombs to the southeast of Jade Sun City, the ice blood ghost Spike, Arno looked at the distant blazing sun kingdom and stood up with a serious expression. Everyone, according to the information. The founding ceremony of the blazing sun kingdom will begin in about 5 minutes. You can follow me to the blazing sun kingdom. The city wall of the blazing sun kingdom is said to be the legendary Supreme Defense City Wall. But don't worry, the city wall level of the Supreme Defense is the same as the territory level, and that King of the Blazing Sun has only been in the High Continent for a short period of time. His territory level is only at the Diamond Tier Intermediate grade. He hasn't even reached the Extraordinary Tier. Therefore, the city wall level of the Supreme Defense is only at the Diamond Tier Intermediate grade. It can't withstand our joint offensive. As long as the King of the Blazing Sun doesn't react in time, and doesn't have time to activate the absolute defense mode of the Supreme Defense, we can quickly break into the Blazing Sun Kingdom and wreak havoc inside the capital. Everyone, when the time comes, act according to the situation. If you encounter danger, just use the random teleportation scroll to leave. Arno said. The Ice Demon Kingdom had long provided her with rich information support before she came. Therefore, she still had some understanding of the situation in the Blazing Sun Kingdom. When the 6 heroes of the people of foreign race heard this, they felt even more at ease. Then prepare. Who? Arno felt an alarm ring in her heart before she could let it out. It was as if a great fear was about to descend on her. Her face twisted from the stimulation of this terrifying crisis. She immediately flew away with all her might almost instinctively. The other 6 heroes of the people of foreign race also had similar fear in their hearts and began to escape in all directions. The next second, rumble, accompanied by an earth-shattering thunderclap. Arno and the other heroes of the people of foreign race, who had just flown into the sky and dodged this crisis, turned their heads to look. They were so frightened that their souls almost flew away. On the ground, a huge abyss pit was actually formed on the ground in a radius of 5,000 to 6,000 meters by a thunder god spear. This huge abyss pit seemed to have no bottom. There was only dark blue lightning with a faint golden light covering the entire huge abyss pit. The terrifying aura of laws circulated around the huge pit in the abyss, making the heroes of the people of foreign races feel fear. 2 heroes of the people of foreign race could not help but swallow when they saw this scene. They suddenly felt that coming over to cause trouble for the King of the Blazing Sun today might be a wrong choice. Even Arno was shocked. However, she could tell at a glance that this person was the target of these heroes when she saw Zhou in the sky, wearing the Emperor Dragon robe, with the sword of Xian Yuan hanging from his waist. Chapter 579 Arno's Divine Outfit 2. So bold of you to leave the city. However, this guy only has the strength of an extraordinary tier advanced grade, but he can actually use such a powerful law skill. As expected of the strongest lord of all races from the last event. As long as I kill him, the opportunities on him will definitely give me hope of becoming a god. Arno's eyes burned with ambition. It was as if the opportunity on the King of the Blazing Sun was already in her bag. As for the 10 subordinates beside him, she only glanced at them before looking away, as if they were nothing. They were all small characters at the epic tier level. Even though it was shocking that such powerful subordinates were in the hands of a new king, who had just established the beginner kingdom. If she ignored this point, this strength was actually nothing to a legendary tier expert like her. At the same time, in the sky, Zhou was not surprised to see the 7 heroes dodge his Thunder God Spear. This was the first time he had used the Thunder God Spear, a law skill, so he was more or less unfamiliar with it. In addition, these people of foreign races were heroes with at least epic tier strength. He could still do this with all his might. Then, he raised his right hand and condensed another divine spear that emitted the aura of the lightning laws. Then, he looked at the 7 heroes of the people of foreign races covetously. His chaos human constitution and the original spirit race constitution added up to an extremely huge amount of chaos origin energy in his body. Currently, he could condense 11 or 12 Thunder God Spears in a row without any problem. It was not an exaggeration to say that he could deal with all 7 heroes of the people of foreign races alone. Bringing Bai Yun, Wuxia and Qi Xiantian, and the others along was just to prevent them from escaping. At the same time, after seeing the King of the Blazing Sun condense another law skill, the expressions of all the heroes of the foreign races present changed drastically, except for Arno. In the face of such a terrifying law skill attack, they would definitely not be able to withstand the Blazing Sun King's attack other than unleashing methods like the Death Curse Blood Goo and the Myriad Thunder Violent Storm Magic Forbidden Curse Scroll. Why don't you show your trump cards? Do you want to save them for when you're dead? At this moment Arno roared at them. Hearing this, the 6 people of foreign races gritted their teeth and immediately took out their trump cards. There were also heroes from the people of foreign races who took out alchemy potions that could increase their strength by a large level in a short period of time. There were even heroes who carefully took out a zombie that emitted the aura of a low-level deity tier elementary grade expert from their spatial treasure. For a moment, a battle that was almost comparable to deity tier had actually erupted near this small Jade Sun city. They are using all of their trump cards? Zhou could not help but be surprised when he saw the 7 heroes of the people of foreign races show their abilities. At the same time, he became even more cautious about the kingdom-level factions in this world. Previously, the Netherbark Kingdom had been able to invite a lesser god spirit to assassinate him, and these beginner kingdoms in front of him could also use similar methods. From this, it could be seen that even though the beginner kingdom was the lowest level lord faction in the kingdom, however, if it developed for thousands of years, it would eventually accumulate some methods that exceeded its own level. I can't underestimate these beginner kingdoms just because my strength has increased, Zhou thought to himself. At the same time, just as these people of foreign races attacked, there was no need for Zhou to order. Bai Yun, Wuxia, Qi Xiantian, Guo Suan, and the others also attacked, blocking the methods of these people of foreign races for Zhou. Some resisted with difficulty, some resisted with ease, and some were evenly matched. However, they could not stop the 2 people of foreign races, so Zhou did not let them. These 2 methods of the people of foreign races were none other than the Demon Thunder Kingdom's heroes Myriad Thunder Violent Storm Magic Forbidden Spell, and the Spiritual Goo Kingdom's heroes Death Curse Blood Goo. The former appeared directly above Zhou in the form of rolling thunderclouds, completely locking onto him. No matter where Zhou went, the thunderclouds would follow him. Once others came into the range of the thunderclouds, not only would they fail to help Zhou block the power of the forbidden spell, but they would also trigger the mechanism of the forbidden spell, increasing the power of the lightning contained in the thunderclouds. As for the latter's Death Curse Blood Goo, it seemed to have locked onto Zhou. Bai Yun and the others wanted to block the Death Curse Blood Goo, but they realized that the blood-colored worm had passed through their bodies and was flying straight towards Zhou. Bai Yun and the others still wanted to catch up and block him. Zhou hurriedly stopped them. With Bai Yun and the others' physiques, they should not be able to block this Death Curse Blood Goo. If they forcefully blocked this terrifying goo worm, they would die. He did not have many Holy Spirit tier Faith Divine crystals after all. He could not lose one just because of this little bug. Then, his gaze landed on the blood-colored bug that was flying over. Seeing the blood-colored bug turn into a blood-colored light and rush towards him, Zhou only watched this scene with a faint smile. He had no intention of attacking. At this moment, all the heroes of the people of foreign races couldn't help but look at the king of the blazing sun. Even if they had to split their attention to fight. Was the death-cursed blood goo about to succeed? The next second, they were shocked to see that the death-cursed blood goo landed on Zhou body and bit him. Thick spatial power erupted, forming a spatial passageway with endless suction behind it, directly sucking it into the spatial rift. All the people of foreign races smiled. Ha ha ha, this king of the blazing sun will definitely die. The instant death law skill of the death-cursed blood goo is infinitely close to 100% when facing an existence weaker than it. This king of the blazing sun is only an extraordinary tier advanced grade, but the death-cursed blood goo is a lesser deity level goo. The difference in strength is so great. If this king of the blazing sun doesn't die, he'll eat shit in public. When this king of the blazing sun, who has no descendants, dies, the blazing sun kingdom will collapse on its own. At that time, we will be able to obtain the wealth of his kingdom. The eyes of the heroes of the people of foreign races burned. It was as if they had already pocketed all the wealth of the blazing sun kingdom. But in the next moment, it was as if they had seen something that shocked them greatly. They looked at the king of the blazing sun in horror. After the death-cursed blood goo bit down, the insect teeth that could bite through a god spirit's body failed to bite through Zhou's body. Instead, 2 of its teeth were broken. The death-cursed blood goo did not give up when it saw this. Instead, it was stimulated by the ferocity in its bloodline, and took 3 bites in a row. And then, its teeth were all broken. Tears welled up in its eyes. Its teeth hurt so much that it cried, "Is my body hard?" Zhou used his chaotic energy to transform into a chaotic hand. He lifted the little bug, and asked with a smile. He had long seen that this little bug contained the power of instant death. He had mastered the power of this law himself after all. It could be said that they were very familiar with each other. In addition, he had long absorbed the bloodline of the extreme dragon race, and condensed the extreme dragon body that was immune to the laws of instant death. Therefore, he was not afraid of this death-cursed blood goo at all. Therefore, the spiritual goo kingdom's method of protecting the country was almost like scratching an itch to him. Chapter 580 Dropping a Set of Divine Equipment. 1. Zhou didn't even rely on the divine artifact, Shadow Cloak, when facing this death-cursed blood goo. He only relied on his physical strength to firmly block this little bug outside his body. Then, he carefully checked the death-cursed blood goo. After discovering that it did not have any hidden cards, he slashed with his right hand and opened a world crack that led to the small world in his body. He casually threw the little bug into the small world in his body, facing a small world created with the Thunder Law and the Dark Cloud Law as the foundation. The death-cursed blood goo could be said to be completely countered in terms of origin stats. Putting it into his small world, even if this little thing was a low-tier deity-level goo worm, it would not be able to turn the world upside down. Then, he looked up at the dark clouds in the sky. In the surging dark clouds in the sky, the spirit of the lightning bloodline of a huge ape condensed. At this moment, it was emitting the terrifying aura of a mid-level deity tier elementary grade. Roar! She was not afraid of Zhou at all, and even looked at him curiously. The lightning elemental spirit formed by the demon ape king's bloodline seemed to have been angered, and immediately roared at Zhou. Then, it immediately swooped down from the center of the dark clouds with a thunderous momentum, smashing towards Zhou with a shocking momentum. Rumble! The two collided in the blink of an eye. The remaining lightning directly spread to a radius of 5 kilometers. Fortunately, it was just some aftershocks, so Bai Yin and the others were not injured. But even so, the heroes of the people of foreign races were still watching this scene in fear. Even Bai Yi and the others, who were confident in their emperor, could not help but worry. After a long time, the lightning dissipated. Zhou floated in the void unscathed. Not only were there no wounds on his body, but even the emperor dragon robe was not damaged. "I'm fine. Focus on the enemy." At this moment, Zhou's voice rang in the ears of his subordinates. The heroes heaved a sigh of relief, and continued to focus on dealing with the enemies in front of them. Why is this king of the blazing sun so strong? Even a mid-level deity tier forbidden spell can't hurt him? Let's run. Where's Lord Ghost Spike? I wonder if she has any trump cards. Why isn't she attacking? The hearts of the people of foreign races wavered. However, they were still confident of escaping with the random teleportation scroll, so they were not very panicky. They wanted to see what trump cards the hero from the Intermediate Kingdom had. At the same time, Zhou was also watching the battlefield. As for the 10,000 lightning violent storm just now, it was naturally useless to him, who had the divine body of lightning. It even replenished the consumption of his previous Thunder God Spear. He casually condensed 2 Thunder God Spears and threw them at the heroes of the Spiritual Goo Kingdom and the Demon Thunder Kingdom. How fast was the lightning? There was a loud bang. Before the 2 heroes of the people of foreign races could take out the random teleportation scroll and escape, they were blasted into pieces by the Thunder God Spear. Fortunately, I can also extract loot from bits and pieces. Otherwise, I would have lost 2 hero inheritance manuals. When Zhou saw this, he muttered inwardly. Then he looked at the battlefield again, looking for an opportunity to attack. But as he watched, he raised his eyebrows slightly. What about the heroes of the Ice Ghost Kingdom? He muttered to himself. At this moment, he felt a slight sense of alarm in his heart. An ice blue figure suddenly pierced out of space with an ice blue dagger in her hand and stabbed at Zhou. It was the Ice Blood Ghost Spike. Arno! Die! Arno's expression was ferocious. She had already used her full strength in this attack. But just as its dagger was about to pierce Zhou's neck, a hand that emitted a faint white light slightly blocked in front of the dagger and grabbed it, preventing Arno's attack from advancing. When Arno saw this scene, not only did she not panic, a sly smile even appeared on her face. The next second, the dagger suddenly released a huge amount of energy to attack Zhou, and the power of this energy attack had shockingly reached the level of a high-level deity. A dagger that can release a full-strength attack from a high-level deity tier is considered a national treasure in our Ice Demon Kingdom. His Majesty really values you. Even such a treasure is specially used to deal with you. Arno looked at the King of the Blazing Sun, who was covered by the energy shockwave. She knew that the other party would definitely die, so she subconsciously relaxed and said indifferently. But at this moment, an illusory arm that emitted a faint grayish-black light, as if it was formed by dark clouds, suddenly flew out from the energy shockwaves. It grabbed her by her neck and lifted her up. Arno's ice-blue eyes widened as she tried to shake off the arm in horror. However, the divine power contained in this arm made her unable to escape no matter what method she used. After the energy shockwaves dissipated, Zhou's unscathed figure appeared in front of Arno. However, the current her was somewhat different from the human form just now. The current Zhou seemed to be made of pitch-black dark clouds, looking deep and mysterious. You. Arno looked at Zhou in horror. How is that possible? That was an all-out attack from a high-level deity tier. How could it not even kill an extraordinary tier advanced grade lord? What kind of existence is this guy? At this moment, an unprecedented fear finally surfaced in her eyes. Chapter 581 Dropping a Set of Divine Equipment, 2. Arno also stopped attacking and looked at Zhou in surprise. How dare this guy say such a thing? Aren't you afraid that he'll agree on the surface, but betray you behind your back? Could he have a special method in this aspect? A tiny human lord wants me to surrender? I won't betray my country. Don't even think about it. Arno said coldly. The actual reason was that her family was still in the capital of the Ice Ghost Kingdom. If she dared to surrender, once the news spread, her family in the capital would definitely not survive. Moreover, this Lord of the Blazing Sun should really have methods to restrict those who surrendered. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said such words. Since that was the case, she would not waste her energy doing that. Zhou looked at her. With his advanced telepathy, he could vaguely sense that the other party seemed to have some concerns. You can tell me if you have any concerns. Zhou said. He still did not want to give up on this legendary tier hero of the people of foreign race in front of him. You seem to think you have me in your pockets? Arno grinned. Then, she flipped her right hand and a random teleportation scroll appeared in her hand. She immediately communicated with the random teleportation scroll with its spirit, wanting to use the random teleportation scroll to teleport millions of kilometers away. When the time comes, even if the King of the Blazing Sun wanted to chase after her, he would definitely not be able to catch up to her in a short period of time. She could completely return to the Ice Demon Kingdom safely and inform His Majesty of the news of this battle. From there, His Majesty would understand more of the King of the Blazing Sun's methods and prepare for the next war. However, in the next second, her face froze. What's going on? Why is there no reaction from the random teleportation scroll? She cried out. How can such a ridiculous thing happen? At this moment, she suddenly felt something and turned her head stiffly to the side. She saw a pitch-black spatial rift the length of an arm floating beside her. There was a faint blink of lightning in the deepest part of it. Under the influence of this spatial crack, ripples appeared in the surrounding space. It was as if a rock had been smashed into the calm water. When Arno saw this, her already ice-blue face turned even paler. How could she not know? It was precisely because this spatial crack disturbed the space and made it unstable that the random teleportation scroll in her hand failed. She looked at Jojo and realized that Jojo was also smiling at her. Then he said something that made her completely despair. None of you will escape. Still not surrendering? Arno was silent for a moment before shaking her head. Just kill me. She closed her eyes. Jojo felt that it was a pity. Then, he casually summoned a chaos spear and pierced through the other party's heart, destroying her vitality. A text notification appeared. You have killed the legendary tier elementary grade ice blood ghost Spike, Arno. You have received plus 4 billion promotion energy. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. You have obtained an additional 320 billion promotion energy points. You have obtained your first hero biography. Please work hard to obtain more hero biographies and forge your own hero fate level slot. Boom. The surging promotion energy poured into Jojo's body like the Milky Way. Jojo felt that he was getting closer and closer to the epic tier stage. Finally, rumble. There was almost no obstruction. Jojo broke through the bottleneck of the epic tier realm and reached the low epic tier elementary grade. I'm finally at the epic tier. Jojo lamented. Ever since he had the epic tier Lord talent, Blessing of the War God, he felt that his advancement speed was as fast as a cheat. It had only been a few days. He himself had advanced from Diamond tier advanced grade to epic tier elementary grade. It was unbelievable just thinking about it. After calming down, Jojo looked at Arno, who was already dead, and shook his head regretfully. Then he took out the loots. Lord talent notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots, Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of the strongest lord. The number of loots has increased by 150%. Lord talent notification. You've obtained Perfect Loots, 50 Divine Crystal Fragments, low-level deity tier elementary grade. 3 Vampires Hidden Thorn Hero Skill Books, low-level deity tier elementary grade. 3 Ice Vampire King Body Hero Skill Books, low-level deity tier elementary grade. 3 Spatial Concealment Divine Spark Fragments, mid-level deity tier elementary grade. 3 Ice Demon God Sacrificial Dagger Equipment, low-level deity tier elementary grade. 3 Ice Demon God Sacrificial Robes, low-level deity tier elementary grade. 3 copies of Random Teleportation Scrolls, mid-level deity tier elementary grade. 1 copy of Book of the God Spirit, low-level deity tier elementary grade. 1 Secret Manuals of the Hero Inheritance, low-level deity tier elementary grade. 20 Lord Talent Crystal Fragments. When Jojo saw the loots, he could not help but smile. A legendary tier elementary grade hero, from the people of foreign races, actually dropped a set of divine equipment. Perhaps only a super lord talent like the King of Loots could do such a ridiculous thing. He first looked at the battlefield and realized that his subordinates could basically deal with the remaining 6 heroes. He then ignored them and began to check the loots. Needless to say, there was no need to talk about divine crystals. Vampire's Hidden Thorn and Ice Vampire King Body were hero skill books. One was an assassin's attack-type hero skill, while the other was a hero skill that strengthened the body. Zhou took a look and retracted his gaze. He planned to reward it to Bai Yin, Wuxia, and the other heroes. Whoever wanted to learn it could directly spend military merits to learn it. Then, he looked at a divine spark fragment of spatial concealment and chose to learn it. After experiencing part of the experience of a low-level god spirit of the god of space and concealment, he successfully comprehended the law skill, spatial concealment. Law skill name, spatial concealment, law skill quality. Low-level deity tier elementary grade, law skill introduction. The user can control the power of the laws and escape into space. They can temporarily stay in the interlayer of space and spatial turbulence for a short period of time and restrain their auras. The living beings who have mastered the spatial concealment can ignore weak spatial influence. Zhou looked at this law skill and nodded slightly. This law skill was quite practical, since the drop rate of monsters was too low on the high continent. So actually, there were many methods that could affect space. Basically, powerful life forms would master one or two abilities to affect space to prevent enemies from escaping through space, or using spatial treasures. This was the greatest value of spatial concealment. For example, Arno, the hero of the people of foreign race. If it mastered the spatial concealment law skill, it might be able to ignore the world fissure created by Zhou and escape into space. That would really cause some trouble for Zhou. Fortunately, it did not know such methods. Otherwise, Zhou would have missed out on its godly outfit. Then he looked at the next loots. Chapter 582 Ice Demon Races Book of the God Spirit. Divine Artifact Name. Ice Demon Sacrificial Dagger. Divine Artifact Grade. Low-level Deity Tier Elementary Grade. Divine Artifact Law Skill, Sacrificing God. Prompt, it can be bound to the soul. Divine Artifact Name. Ice Demon Sacrificial Robe. Divine Artifact Grade. Low-level Deity Tier Elementary Grade. Divine Artifact Law. Worshipping God. Sacrifice the divine crystals to the Ice Demon Sacrificial Robe. Every 10 divine crystals can release a God Spirit Ice Attribute Law Defense skill of the same level. Prompt. It can be bound to the soul. Sacrifice type divine artifact. It costs divine crystals to use it? Zhou had a strange expression. To him, this type of law skill was not very useful, nor was insignificant. As a chaos human, the chaotic origin energy in his body could naturally replace divine power to cast law skills or activate divine artifacts. Which meant, even if he didn't have this divine sacrifice function, he could still use a God Spirit level law skill or unleash the normal power of a divine artifact. That was something even the original spirit race, who also had divine power, could not do. In reality, it was a weakened version of pseudo-divine power at best. It was incomparable to ordinary divine power. Not only was this pseudo-divine power unable to activate the full power of the divine artifact, it could only unleash a portion of its power. Even the power of law skills was inferior to the power of law skills used by God spirits. As a chaos human, he could unleash the normal power of law skills and divine artifacts. This was also the advantage of the chaos humans. And because of that, Zhou did not need the method of sacrifice to a God spirit to use law skill attack skills and defense skills at the God spirit level. When he thought of this, he put these 6 divine artifacts into his imperial treasure box. Then he looked at the next loots. Treasure name, Random Teleportation Scroll. Treasure grade, Mid-level Deity Tier Elementary Grade. Treasure effect. Use your spiritual power to activate the Random Teleportation Scroll. It can immediately teleport the user 10 billion kilometers away. If the user's teleportation location is within 100 million kilometers, you can perform directional teleportation. Treasure description. A random teleportation scroll created by a spatial god spirit. There's no danger in using it. You don't have to worry about being randomly teleported underground or other dangerous places. It's a good escape treasure. Randomly teleported 10 billion kilometers away? Directional teleportation can be carried out within 100 million kilometers? What a treasure! Zhou put it away with a smile. Then he looked at the Book of the God Spirit. Treasure name: Book of the God Spirit. Treasure grade: low-level deity tier, elementary grade. Treasure effect: the mythical book that recorded the ice demon god Ba'i's path to becoming a god. After using it, you can embark on the road to becoming the ice demon god. Treasure description: Book of God inheritance. After using it, you can walk on a smooth path to becoming a god. But whether you can really become a god in the end depends on the user himself. Ice demon god Ba'i. Could it be a god spirit from the ice demon kingdom? TSK Tisk. I wonder how the ice demon kingdom will feel when they find out that the divine inheritance of their race has fallen into my hands. Zhou thought with a strange expression. Zhou thought for a moment and decided not to reward the Book of the God Spirit to his subordinates. Instead, he put it away. The next loots would be this low-level deity elementary grade Hero Inheritance Manual. Treasure name: Hero Inheritance Secret Manual. Grade: low-level deity elementary grade. Treasure ability: you can obtain the heroic inheritance of the Ice Spike King, Ba'i, after using it. Introduction: I am the Ice Demon God and also the King of Assassins. Ice Spike King, Ba'i. Zhou stroked his chin and looked at the secret manuals of the hero inheritance. The low-level deity elementary grade hero inheritance was already considered a very precious inheritance. It was rare even among humans. He thought for a moment and also put it into his spatial ring. He would reward this hero inheritance secret manual and Book of the God Spirit to his subordinates who performed well in war in the future. As for rewarding by Yin Wuxia and the others, Zhou had this thought, but he quickly rejected it. The level of these two treasures was a little low. Zhou felt that he could not use them to restrict his veterans general's future. They were not like Suen. His potential was extremely high, and his future would not be restricted by the temporary inheritance of the god spirits. Even though Bai Yun Wuxia and the others' aptitudes had been improved by the sword of Xian Yuan, the Sun Moon Star Sword, their potential was actually only average. Like Bai Yun, her aptitude was only at the low-level deity advanced grade. Wu Xin's was even lower, only at legendary tier advanced grade. Once they accept the god spirit inheritance, they might be stuck at the level of the god spirit inheritance for the rest of their lives. Zhou still had feelings for the veteran generals. Even if they really wanted to choose a book of the god spirit in the future to determine their future limit, Zhou had to get them a few high-level books. This way, even if there was a gap between the generals in the future, the gap would not be too big. No matter what, Zhou wanted to give them at least a high-level deity-level book of the god spirit. Zhou continued to look at the battlefield in front of him. After the death of the Ice Blood Ghost Spike, Arno, the remaining 4 heroes clearly panicked. In addition, they gradually realized that they could not defeat Zhou's heroic subordinates, so they also thought of escaping. However, just as they took out the random teleportation scroll and activated it to escape, their expressions changed. This was because they had actually discovered that this low-level teleportation scroll was actually unable to allow them to open a spatial passageway to escape. Zhou smiled. He had already disturbed the space around them through the world fissure. It was impossible for this group of people of foreign races to escape with the help of a random teleportation scroll. Surrender and I won't kill you, Zhou said calmly, seeing that the time was about right. His voice spread to the ears of every hero of the people of foreign race with the help of the chaotic origin energy. I surrender. Am willing to surrender. Don't kill me. Spare me. Am willing to surrender. I surrender too. Hearing this voice, the 4 heroes of the people of foreign race, who had been almost beaten to death by Qi Xintian, Suen, and the others immediately said hurriedly. Qi Xintian, Suen, and the others also stopped. I'll announce now that you've joined the Blazing Sun Kingdom and become a subject of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Zhou said again. The heroes of the people of foreign races did not dare to raise any objections, and immediately did as Zhou said. After they did as Zhou said, a strange feeling affected their will. Then, when they looked at Zhou again, almost all their bad thoughts were gone. There was only reverence and loyalty in their eyes. When Zhou saw this, his expression did not change at all. Come on. Let's return to the Blazing Sun Kingdom and continue the founding ceremony. There should still be time. Zhou said calmly. Yes, Your Majesty. Everyone and the heroes of the people of foreign race, who had just surrendered, said respectfully. Zhou nodded. Then, he turned around and flew in the direction of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. The others and the people of foreign races followed. In the Blazing Sun Kingdom, at the venue of the founding ceremony, Zhou sat upright on the throne in the Emperor Dragon robe and looked upon the soldiers and guests who were entering the venue one after another. Chapter 583 Guests and Gifts. Among them, the Titan King, Fens, and Li Yuangan were both here. At this moment, they were sitting below and chatting happily with their surrounding friends. There was no communication between them. They were even very cold towards each other. They were mortal enemies with each other when they were in the Titan Kingdom and the Aurora Kingdom after all. This attitude was too normal. At this moment, Zheng Yuanqi walked over. Your Majesty, we have 3 important guests. He whispered. Who? Zhou was stunned. Zheng Yuanqi whispered into Zhou's ear. When Zhou heard this, an obvious surprise appeared on his face, followed by surprise. Take me there. Zhou stood up and said, Your Majesty, please follow me. After saying that, Zheng Yuanqi led Zhou to a hall at the side. In the hall, when Zhou arrived, he saw 3 figures standing in the hall. 2 of the figures were wearing black robes and emitted a terrifying vengeful spirit aura. They were the King of Eternal Silence and his wife, whom he had not seen for a long time. The other person had sharp ears, long blood-red hair, and a strange beautiful blood-colored pattern on his face. She had a graceful figure. She was wearing blood-colored light armor and carrying an exquisite blood-colored bow on her back. She looked like she was intertwined by blood and fire, and there was war and misfortune around her. However, at the same time, she exuded a soul-stirring beauty. Zhou looked at her, and his gaze also softened. Long time no see, Nadia. Zhou lamented. This person was Nadia, the first-generation blood-fire arrow elf, who had bonded with Zhou because of the time ruins, and then revived from the dead. Nadia smiled. Then, she looked at Zhou and could not help but say, however, even though it hasn't been long, it really feels like a long time. At that time, you were only a lord who had just arrived in the high continent. Now, you have already established a kingdom and become the king of a country. Zhou smiled and did not say anything. He was indeed developing very quickly. There was nothing to be humble about. He looked at the King of Eternal Silence and apologized. I'm sorry. This hero of the Elven Empire and I are old friends who have not seen each other for a long time. So we chatted a little more and neglected the 2 of you. It's fine. You didn't actually talk much. You're the protagonist today, and we're not in a hurry. If you have more to talk about, you can talk for a while. The King of Eternal Silence smiled and said. The more it and its Queen of Eternal Silence looked at the new king in front of it, the more shocked they felt. When they first met Zhou, he was just an ant in their eyes. He even needed their help to escape from the enemy then. How much time has passed? The unfamiliar and familiar human in front of them actually made their hearts skip a beat. The vengeful spirit couple looked at each other and saw the surprise and disbelief in each other's eyes. However, both of them were vengeful spirits with noble qualities. Even though they were puzzled, they did not ask further. Didn't the 2 of you seal yourselves in the sandstorm forbidden land? Why did you suddenly emerge? Zhou asked doubtfully. It's naturally because of you as our new neighbor. And you are familiar to us. So we came over to take a look and celebrate your new kingdom. The King of Eternal Silence explained. There was another reason he did not reveal. That was this new king was suspected to be related to the mysterious caravan. They had benefited greatly from the previous transaction with the mysterious caravan. So they came over because of this reason. Zhou nodded. He had a guess as to the real reason why they had come personally. However, he did not say it out loud. He chuckled and chatted with them. The King of Eternal Silence and his wife flipped their right hands, and a jade box appeared as they chatted. This is a congratulatory gift from our Kingdom of Eternal Silence to your Blazing Sun Kingdom. I hope it catches your eye. The King of Eternal Silence smiled and said, "You're too kind," Zhou said politely. Then, he took the jade box and looked at it. Magic scroll name. Hero projection. Magic grade. Legendary tier advanced grade. Magic effect. Open the scroll and summon 2 vengeful spirit projections of the King of Eternal Silence and the Queen of Eternal Silence with the strength of a legendary tier advanced grade. They will fight for the King of the Blazing Sun. The duration of the vengeful spirit projection is 1 hour. Number of summons, 3/3. Treasure description. A magic scroll specially created by the King of Eternal Silence and the Queen of Eternal Silence to celebrate the founding of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Zhou was a little surprised. Then a smile appeared on his face. "I like this gift very much. Thank you for worrying about me." He smiled. He really liked this scroll. Being able to summon the King of Eternal Silence and his wife 3 times was equivalent to summoning 6 legendary tier experts to fight for him. This was already a pretty good congratulatory gift. As long as you like it. When the King of Eternal Silence and his wife saw that the smile on Zhou's face was not fake, a smile appeared on their faces. When Nadia saw this, she also took out a green gift box. "This is a congratulatory gift specially sent by the Empress of our Elven Empire," she said. As soon as these words were spoken, Zhou and the King of Eternal Silence looked at Nadia. "Lord Elven Empress? The only original elf in the world?" The King of Eternal Silence could not help but ask. Nadia nodded. The King of Eternal Silence and his wife were secretly shocked. Even though they had lived underground for a long time, they had their own channels to obtain information from the outside world. Therefore, they knew very well how powerful the Elven Empress was. It was said that this original Elven Empress was the candidate with the greatest hope of promoting their Empire-level Lord faction to a Divine Kingdom-level Lord faction among so many generations of Elven Empire kings. They did not expect the human lord in front of them was actually related to that existence. The other party even took the initiative to give him gifts. At this moment, Zhou's status in their hearts increased even more. Zhou was also a little surprised that the Elven Empress would notice him, and was even more curious about the gift given to him by this Empress. He waved his right hand, and got someone to bring the green gift box over. He opened it, and saw a leaf with mysterious green patterns, and emitted a faint green fluorescence, lying quietly in the gift box. Zhou took a deep breath. He felt a large amount of life force surge into his body. Even though he was a chaos human, he felt his spirit suddenly rejuvenate. Zhou looked over in surprise. Treasure name. Holy Leaf of the Elven Mother Tree. Treasure grade. True God tier elementary grade. Treasure effect. Keep it on your body and you can block 1 fatal damage for your main body. When the wearer suffers injuries below the True God tier level, it can quickly recover to a healthy state for a short period of time. Treasure description. The Holy Leaf of the Elven Mother Tree, containing majestic life essence. Chapter 584 Nadia. And by Yin Zhou's eyes lit up when he saw the effect of the Elven Mother Tree. What a treasure! This effect was almost equivalent to a resurrection opportunity, as expected of the Empress of the Elven Empire. She was so generous. "When you get back, thank your Majesty for me. I like this gift very much." Zhou smiled and put it away. Nadia smiled and nodded. The 4 of them chatted for a while. Then, Zhou smiled and said, "Everyone, it's getting late. It's almost time for me to appear. Let's go participate in the ceremony first." It was the founding ceremony today, so he naturally could not spend all his time with them. Sure. The King of Eternal Silence, his wife, and Nadia nodded in agreement. Then, the 3 of them left and walked towards the venue. For the rest of the time, Zhou participated in the founding ceremony. During this process, the fixed procedure of the military parade was naturally unavoidable. When heroes like Bai Yun, Wu Exin, Qi Xiantian, Suan, Guoqiao, and many dragons appeared, even though all the guests present had long understood and were mentally prepared, they were still stunned by this scene. How is this like a newly established beginner kingdom? In terms of the number of heroes, I'm afraid they have surpassed even that of an intermediate kingdom. The King of Eternal Silence looked at the heroes and could not help but sigh. I didn't expect that the brat who still needed us to save back then had actually grown to the point of being able to stand shoulder to shoulder with us. The Queen of Eternal Silence also sighed. Standing shoulder to shoulder with us? I think it's more than that. Don't forget, this is only a ceremony to showcase his strength. With this new king's past experiences, he's definitely not stupid enough to show his full strength. This king of the blazing sun is probably hiding a huge force in the dark. Of course, this is just my guess. The King of Eternal Silence said. The Queen of Eternal Silence nodded. We've sealed ourselves underground for too long. How long has it been since we've seen such a grand occasion? She whispered. Take a closer look. We'll go back tonight. The King of Eternal Silence grabbed the Queen of Eternal Silence's hand and said gently and firmly. It was impossible for him to make the Kingdom of Eternal Silence reappear, just because of the Queen's request. Otherwise, the undead army of the Kingdom of Eternal Silence would definitely bring a disaster to the main world, and even misfortune to his neighbor, the King of the Blazing Sun. The existence of the Kingdom of Eternal Silence was a sin they had personally caused. In order to seal this sin, they would not hesitate even if they had to be suppressed underground forever. They had already been wrong once. They could not make another mistake. The Queen of Eternal Silence pursed her lips and looked at the magnificent scene in front of her. Crystal tears subconsciously fell from the corners of her eyes. On the other side, Nadia, the first blood fire arrow elf, could not help but feel shocked after watching the military parade. How did he do it? He actually saved up such a fortune in such a short period of time. No wonder Her Majesty values Jojo so much. From the military parade just now, Jojo indeed has the potential to be valued. Nadia thought to herself. She came this time to celebrate Jojo's establishment of the kingdom. Secondly, she wanted to convey the Empress kindness. Thirdly, she wanted to see how the Jojo kingdom was doing for the Empress before returning to report the truth. This was naturally not a leak. The founding ceremony was held under the attention of tens of thousands of people after all. What it displayed was not a secret. The reason why the Empress specially instructed her to report the situation of Jojo's kingdom truthfully was. She wanted to invest in Jojo. Actually, the original Elven Empress had wanted to invest in Jojo previously. However, at that time, Jojo was only an ordinary lord of all races. Even though he later obtained the title and status of the strongest novice lord, and was even noticed by the Supreme Resistance, it could not change the fact that he was still not even a kingdom-level lord. Due to the Supreme Agreement, even as the Empress of the Elven Empire, she could not interfere too much. However, now that Jojo had established the beginner kingdom and become a lord of a kingdom-level lord faction, even though such a faction was still not worth mentioning in the eyes of the Elven Empire, it had already reached the point where they could barely talk. The Elven Empire could also carry out some hidden help and investments. As for how much to invest and how to invest, it would depend on how Nadia reported when she returned this time. Nadia did not think too much about it. She naturally decided to report truthfully when she returned. She did not dare to hide or exaggerate. The Empress was not an ordinary person. She could tell at a glance if she was telling the truth. Moreover, Jojo was indeed developing extremely well. Therefore, reporting it truthfully was the best choice. As the person with the deepest relationship with Jojo, she was naturally in charge of the contact and investment work after that. Thinking of the future, she would have more contact with Jojo in the future. Nadia could not help but smile beautifully, making the surrounding guests lose their minds. Are you, Sister Nadia? At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in her ear. Nadia was stunned. She turned around and saw a valiant female general standing beside her. She was wearing casual clothes, making her look both heroic and feminine. You are the second-generation blood fire arrow elf, Bai Yin? Nadia stood up and looked at Bai Yin in surprise. Bai Yin nodded. Can I sit beside you? Bai Yin asked. Of course. Nadia immediately nodded. Due to the aura of the beauty and the status of the empire, no one in a radius of 2 to 3 seats dared to sit there. Bai Yin smiled and sat down. Nadia felt the other party's aura and was a little surprised. High-level Wood Elves bloodline? She remembered that when she first became a hero, her bloodline was only that of a normal Wood Elves. Logically speaking, the bloodline obtained by the inheritor should be that of a normal Wood Elves. Could it be that she had obtained an opportunity to increase the level of her bloodline? Nadia thought to herself. Such opportunities that could increase one's bloodline were often very rare. She had only transformed her Wood Elves bloodline into the Fire and Blood Elves bloodline after the Empire paid a huge price. This extremely rare composite bloodline was only one level higher than the high-level Wood Elves bloodline. She did not hide her doubts and asked curiously. She also said that she could choose not to tell her if it was inconvenient. There's nothing inconvenient. His Majesty helped me upgrade it with special methods previously. Bai Yin smiled. Nadia nodded as expected. She did sense a faint aura of high-level Wood Elves from Zhou. At this moment, Zhou was even more mysterious in Nadia's eyes. You've already made your own path? Nadia observed for a few more seconds before saying in surprise again. She had forged her own path. This meant that the hero in front of her was no longer restricted by the hero inheritance. Her future could be said to be immeasurable. Bai Yi smiled and nodded. Nadia admired her even more. The two of them started chatting again. Perhaps it was because they were both female heroes and also had the title of Blood Fire Arrow Elf. The two of them no longer felt distant as they chatted, as if they were good friends who had known each other for many years. Chapter 585 Construction of the God of Death Statue. God Spirit Preliminary Selection. The founding ceremony lasted from the morning to a little past 4 in the afternoon. Not long after it ended, the King of Eternal Silence, his wife, and Nadia bade farewell and left. Zhou tried to persuade them to stay. Seeing that they really had something to do, he did not stop them. He sent them out of the Blazing Sun Kingdom and borrowed their 2 starry knights to go to their respective destinations. After the founding ceremony ended, Zheng Yuanqi and the others also had their own positions. The official position system of the Blazing Sun Kingdom was based on the 9th grade official position system of the High Continent. Zhou had no objections. The official position system in the High Continent had been developed for tens of thousands of years. Even though Zhou was confident in the official position system of the Cerulean planet, he was not confident enough to ignore everything. Moreover, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. The Cerulean planet's methods might not be useful on the High Continent. Among them, as the deputy city lord of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, Zheng Yuanqi handled government affairs for the Blazing Sun Kingdom. There was no problem with his qualifications or ability. He was naturally the first-grade prime minister of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Bai Yin, Nazario, and the other legion commanders of the 4 legions took on the responsibility of a first-grade great general of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. As for the heroes, they would take on the position of the Kingdom Guardian of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, according to their strength and hero slots. Zhao Changshe was the construction official of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. At the same time, he was the president of the Blazing Sun Kingdom's Architecture Association and enjoyed a second-grade official position. As for the other lifestyle professionals and combat professionals, they had also arranged their positions. As for the palace of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, it was naturally the intermediate grade lord's paradise. His intermediate grade lord's paradise was extremely huge. It was not a problem for them to host more than 1 million people at the same time. So it was naturally not a problem for them to take on the responsibility of the palace. As for the place to deal with politics, it was arranged in the administrative hall of the capital. The administrative hall was also huge, so it was not difficult to carve out a place in the palace that had been modified to deal with political matters. Moreover, the administrative hall was also the place where officials dealt with government affairs on a daily basis. This would also make it easier to convey and resolve government affairs. The flag of the Blazing Sun Kingdom was set against the background of the endless and deep sea of stars, and in the upper left corner was a dazzling white sun. In other words, it was the image of endless sea of stars support the sun, and the sun will bestow upon the stars. The sun naturally referred to the blazing sun of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. As for the endless sea of stars, It referred to the future of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. The Blazing Sun Kingdom wanted to expand its territory to the endless sea of stars, or even the endless heavens. As for the matters of the other kingdoms, they were also arranged in the announcements of the conferences behind the founding ceremony. As the new king, Zhou naturally participated in the entire process. He was not unfamiliar with this, after mastering the emperor's heart technique. Instead, he was quite familiar with it. In some places, it was even more perfect than Zheng Yuanqi's methods. This made all the ministers who witnessed it sigh. Their emperor was really a natural emperor. After everything was done, Zhou was about to return to his room, when Zhao Changshu found him. "Your Majesty, the god of death statue has been built. And a guardian of death was born in our territory, almost at the same time," Zhao Changshu said. When he mentioned the guardian of death, he also looked very surprised. Clearly, he did not expect it to happen so quickly. Zhou was also very surprised. "Let's go take a look." "Yes, Your Majesty." The two of them walked towards the god of death statue. In front of the god of death statue, a young man in white was looking up at the 100-meter-tall statue. This one held a god of death scythe, and was covered in a black cloak, looking mysterious and dignified. "Is this the spokesperson of death, god of death, His Excellency Thanatos?" Zhang muttered. He was originally a young man with congenital necrosis. Even the many doctors and clergymen in the territory were helpless against this terminal illness. His family had used all kinds of methods to help him. They had even spent a huge amount of contributions to buy a kingdom-level combat class from the Violent Storm Spirit from the Treasure Vault, to change his profession to the Violent Storm Spirit and comprehend extraordinary power. However, it proved to be useless. According to the immortal divine medicine doctor, Lu Kaier, the only way to resolve his terminal illness was to let his strength reach the diamond tier and comprehend the complete professional skill of the Violent Storm Spirit, the wind and thunder elemental body. From there, he could completely transform himself into an elemental constitution. This could solve his congenital necrosis problem. However, there was a problem. After completely transforming into the wind and thunder elemental body, he could not return to his human form and could only live in the world as an elemental. Even though this method had a huge drawback, they chose to try it in order to let Zhang live. However, his body could not withstand high-intensity battles. Even if he insisted on killing monsters every day, coupled with the help of the Master God Tier's blessing of the War God, his extremely low killing efficiency could not support him to reach the Diamond Tier before he died. His family and friends were in despair facing this problem. However, not only did Zhang not care, but he also cherished his relatives and friends even more and did many things for them. In the end, he could not withstand the invasion of his illness and died on the hospital bed today. But not long after, he opened his eyes again, his family dumbfounded. Then he realized, not only was he healthy, but he also had the power of an Empire-level combat class called the Guardian of Death other than the Kingdom-level combat class, the Violent Storm Spirit. He had shockingly become a dual profession holder. At the same time, he understood some of the Guardian of Death's class abilities and some death-related matters and secrets. He knew that the Guardian of Death he had was not given to him by the God of Death. Instead, it was given by the Law of Death. The Law of Death admired his attitude towards death, so it gave him new life and the power of the Guardian of Death. Then, he followed his senses and arrived here, after appeasing his family and friends who had experienced great sorrow and joy. He saw the God of Death statue that had just been built. What a rich power of the Law of Death. Zhang felt it again and clicked his tongue. "You can feel the Law of Death?" At this moment, a gentle and curious voice suddenly came from behind him. Zhang was shocked. He turned around and saw the surprised Zhou and Zhao Changshu. Your Majesty?" "Uncle Zhao." Zhang was shocked and immediately bowed. "No need to be so polite. Is what you said true? Can you really feel the power of the Law of Death?" Zhou checked the young man's attribute information as he asked curiously. What surprised him was that the young man in front of him was not only a Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Violent Storm Spirit Professionals, but also a Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Guardian of Death. A dual profession holder. This was extremely rare among the trillions of life forms in the high continent. He only had 3 professions because of his Lord talent. The young man in front of him did not have his Lord talent. He continued reading. This young man's talent was actually at the true God tier elementary grade. Moreover, there was a special talent in this young man's skill list. Talent, blessing of the law of death. Talent effect. The talent and potential of the person blessed by the law of death will increase greatly. At the same time, his comprehension of the law of death will be comparable to a high-level bloodline life form with a death-type constitution. After reading it, Zhou could not help but look at the young man in surprise. Good God! A preliminary God spirit. Chapter 586 Absorbing the Royal Bloodline of 10,000 Gu. This child might not be inferior to that brat Xiaoxian in the future as long as he grows up. Moreover, this is a talent of the law of death. Once he becomes a god spirit of the law of death, his combat strength will also be quite terrifying. Zhou thought to himself. Then he thought of another situation. Every guardian of death would receive the blessing of the law of death? If that was the case, the value of this god of death statue was immeasurable. He tried to ask the child. In the end, Zhang'an said uncertainly, I don't know either, but I don't think it's like that. He didn't want to deliberately elevate himself. But his intuition, which came from the profession of guardian of death, told him that his talent was only a coincidence. If the other guardians of death wanted the blessing of the law on him, it would probably depend on their mood. Zhou nodded slightly. Even though it was a pity, he was not too disappointed. This was actually within his expectations. If the god of death statue really had that heaven-defying miraculous effect, the Netherbark Kingdom would not have been so easily breached by him. Then, Zhou and Zhang'an chatted for a while. With his high-level telepathy, he quickly knew that the young man in front of him was quite kind and filial. In this chaotic war world, this quality could be said to be quite rare. It also made Zhou value him even more. Are you willing to accept my nurturing and work for me and the Blazing Sun Kingdom? Zhou looked at him and asked seriously, Can I really do it? When Zhang'an heard this, he was first very excited, then a little terrified and hesitant. Of course, your potential and personality are worthy of being nurtured by my country. However, don't be arrogant because of your favor. Work hard to improve yourself, and let me see your improvement. Only then will the resources I invest in you in the future not be in vain. If this young man did not work hard to advance after accepting his resources, but he also relaxed and slacked off, he would not nurture him diligently because of his potential aptitude. There was not much else in his territory, just a whole lot of talents and experts. He would not feel that it was too much of a pity not to nurture a person with high potential with 2 professions. I accept. Thank you, Your Majesty. I will definitely work hard and not disappoint Your Majesty. When Zhang'an heard this, he pondered for a moment and said seriously. Originally, he was a little confused after being reborn and did not know what to do in the future. But at this moment, His Majesty's words gave him a clear path. Moreover, he did not refuse to serve His Majesty. Most of the things he had came from His Majesty after all. Even this life came from the god of death statue designated by His Majesty. Therefore, it was not an exaggeration to say that His Majesty had saved his life. Moreover, His Majesty was a virtuous monarch praised by the subjects in the territory. He was the object of worship of countless subjects. Countless subjects scrambled to serve His Majesty, and he was naturally no exception. Now that such a precious opportunity had finally descended from the sky, he was naturally unwilling to let it go. Zhou nodded. Uncle Zhao. I'll tell the Prime Minister later. Let's say that this young man called Zhang and will be specially nurtured by the Blazing Sun Kingdom in the future. The treatment will be the same as Xiaoxian's. Zhou turned to Zhao Changshu and said. Zhao Changshu looked at Zhang'an in surprise. Good God! Xiaoxian was young, had a lively personality, and had extremely high potential. He could even lead people to search for treasures. He had a status and treatment that could be said to be a national treasure in the Blazing Sun Kingdom. He did not expect this young man in front of him to receive such a status after talking to His Majesty. Really, a fortune that fell from the sky. Zhao Changshu sighed. Yes, Your Majesty. Oh, go now. Zhao Changshu said respectfully and turned to leave. Zhang Yan was also a little stunned. He naturally knew about Xiao Xian, the strongest young prodigy in the Blazing Sun Kingdom, the child king in the eyes of countless children. He did not expect that he would actually jump to a figure like Xiao Xian after being reborn. He was a little terrified, but also a little excited and expectant. Zhou smiled and chatted with him for a while before leaving. In the intermediate grade Lord's Paradise, Zhou received a notification from the marketplace as soon as he returned. He opened the marketplace and looked over. As expected, the 100 million skill books and 200 million pieces of equipment had already been sold. Trade result: 1006, 050, 315, 135 black iron tier Miss Cores. Zhou looked at the astonishing number of Miss Cores and smiled. There were more than 1 trillion black iron tier Miss Cores. In other words, there were more than 10,000 legendary tier Miss Cores. Its value was not enough to make up for the price of buying the original Spirit Race bloodline, since he had spent 14,000 legendary tier Mist Cores to buy the bloodline of the original Spirit Race after all. However, he had at least recovered more than half of his capital. He was very satisfied. Then, he put these Mist Cores into his Heavenly Mist treasure bag. After transforming them into legendary tier Mist Cores, he took out another item. This was a heart that emitted chaotic light. It looked like heavy metal was contaminated. However, this was the only bloodline loot he had obtained from dealing with the heroes of the people of foreign races today. Bloodline name: 10,000 Gu Royal Bloodline. Bloodline level: legendary tier advanced grade. Bloodline effect: after absorbing it, the user can obtain the bloodline of the 1,000 venomous worm race. After fusing with this bloodline, the user will gradually awaken the bloodline ability of the 1,000 venomous worm race during their growth. Prompt 1. Fuse 1,000 sets of legendary tier advanced grade bloodlines, and you can obtain 1 advanced grade high god tier advanced grade. 10,000 Gu Insect Royal Bloodline. 10,000 Gu Insect Royal Bloodline. Zhou sized up the heart. This bloodline was originally only the bloodline of an epic tier advanced grade. Later on, after the quality of his loots increased by 1, it directly became this 10,000 Gu Insect Royal Bloodline. I wonder how much a legendary tier advanced grade bloodline can increase my original Spirit Race bloodline? Zhou thought. He did not think too much about it and chose to absorb it. You have absorbed 1 portion of the 10,000 Gu King Race, legendary tier advanced grade. You have absorbed 1 portion of the 10,000 Gu King Race, legendary tier advanced grade. Your 6 senses have been slightly strengthened. You have awakened the legendary tier advanced grade King of all Gu talent, King of Gu Poison Body. You have awakened the legendary tier advanced grade 10,000 Gu Royal talent, legendary tier Toxin Immunity. You have awakened the legendary tier advanced grade 10,000 Gu Royal talent, Gu Affinity. You have mastered the inheritance of the 10,000 Gu Royal family, the 10,000 Gu Holy Scripture, Book 1. You have mastered the general knowledge of the inheritance of the 10,000 Gu King. You have grasped the secret inheritance of the 10,000 Gu King. Zhou looked at the bloodline notification, and the corners of his mouth could not help but twitch a few times. Good God! A legendary tier advanced grade bloodline could not even increase his chaos human bloodline by a small level. It seemed that as the level of the Chaos Human's bloodline increased, its requirements for the bloodline level it absorbed became higher and higher. Chapter 587 10,000 Gu King Talent. Recognition of the Death Curse Blood Gu. I can also obtain 2 high-level bloodlines that can be upgraded now. One is the Vampire Bloodline. It can finally be upgraded to the 1st generation, the Cain level bloodline, through constant fusion. Among the Cerulean planet lords of my Star Alliance, there is a vampire kingdom near the territory of the Gold Merchant Lord. If I can take down the vampire kingdom and constantly fuse with the bloodline, I might be able to fuse an existence close to the Cain level bloodline. Even if it's only upgraded to the bloodline level of a vampire prince, It will be very beneficial to me. The second high-level bloodline is this 10,000 Gu race bloodline. Zhou muttered to himself. According to the bloodline inheritance of the myriad insect race that he had just accepted, there was also the bloodline of the 10,000 Gu god race, above the bloodline of the high-level advanced grade true god tier. If he could obtain the bloodline of the 10,000 Gu god race, he would definitely be able to advance his chaos human bloodline. Zhou's goal was very clear. Spiritual Gu Kingdom. Zhou's eyes were cold. Since you have provoked me a few times, don't blame me for destroying your country and turning it into my bloodline power. With his current strength, it was naturally easy for him to destroy a spiritual Gu Kingdom that had lost more than half of its heroes. After thinking for a while, he looked at the ability awakened by the King of all Gu. Race talent name, Gu King Poison Body, talent level, legendary tier advanced grade, talent description. As a member of the King of all Gu, you are born good at controlling all kinds of Gu worms. Moreover, you can accommodate all kinds of Gu poison. Your physical fitness will increase slightly with every normal Gu poison you absorb. Your physical fitness and soul quality will increase greatly with every rare Gu poison you absorb. Every time you absorb a god tier Gu poison, not only will your physical fitness and soul quality increase greatly, there is even a very small chance of obtaining additional talents. Zhou looked at the race talent in surprise. It felt a little similar to the chaos human bloodline. They were all top-notch talents that could assist in their own growth. Absorb the Gu poison. Zhou thought for a moment and suddenly thought of something. His eyes lit up. He waved his right hand and opened a world fissure. Then, he stretched out his right hand and took out a blood-colored worm. It was the death curse blood Gu that the heroes of the spiritual Gu Kingdom had used to deal with him previously. At this moment, the little worm was already in a listless state. The lightning laws contained in Zhou's small world of lightning and dark clouds restrained it too much. It could last until now only in a listless state, and not be directly weakened to death by the thunder law, because it was too strong. If it were any other Gu, it would have died long ago. Zhou looked at the worm in his hand. As he watched, an unexpected situation happened. The Gu worm that was previously extremely hostile to Zhou and wanted to implant its death curse blood Gu into Zhou's body, suddenly rubbed against Zhou's hand intimately, after looking at him twice. It was as if he was wheedling with his family. Zhou was stunned. Then, he immediately looked at the newly awakened talent of the 10,000 Gu King race. Race talent name, Gu Affinity, talent level, legendary tier advanced grade, talent description. As a member of the 10,000 Gu King race, a large number of Gu in the world have an extremely high initial favorable impression of you. You can even use this rare affinity and ability to command them, and make unfamiliar Gu for your own use, without signing a contract. As expected, this Gu affinity talent is working. Zhou muttered to himself. Then, he looked at the death curse blood Gu in his hand in surprise. My God, this difference in attitude. It would be even more exaggerated than when he used peace and prosperity to obtain the loyalty of the subjects. As expected of the 10,000 Gu King race. If that's the case. Zhou looked at the death curse blood Gu in his hand, and his expression gradually turned serious. He floated it in the air with his mental strength. Facing this situation, the death curse blood Gu cooperated extremely well, and did not resist at all. It just stayed obediently in the air, and looked at Zhou with its innocent small eyes, as if it was curious about what he was going to do next. Zhou did not hesitate. He began to form seals with both hands at an unfamiliar speed according to the contents of the 10,000 Gu scripture, Book 1, that he had just obtained in his mind. Gu Control Sage Seal, Death Curse Seal. This was a sealing technique specially used to curse a Gu like the Death Curse Blood Gu. After using it to imprint the Death Curse Blood Gu, the Death Curse Blood Gu would obediently listen to the orders of the person who imprinted it, as if it had signed a slave contract. It would not have any thoughts of resisting. It could be said that it completely belonged to the sealed artist from head to toe. Zhou set up the Gu seal. A strange text emitting a blood-colored light floated in front of him. Zhou clapped his hands and saw the strange blood-colored text float towards the Death Curse Blood Gu. In the end, it entered the space between the Death Curse Bloodgus eyebrows without any resistance, and was branded in its soul. At this moment, Zhou and the Death Curse Blood Goo could sense each other, and felt a bloodline connection with each other. At the same time, Zhou also felt that his physical fitness had increased greatly. Even though he did not break through, he was about to test the strength of his intermediate-grade physical body. Other than that, what surprised Zhou even more was that he realized that he had awakened a new talent. Talent name: Poison Attached, Death Curse Goo Poison, Talent Level, Low-Tier Deity Elementary Grade. Talent Description: You can attach the Death Curse Goo Poison to any life form and substance. There is a fixed 10% chance that the attached life form will be directly poisoned to death. When the attached substance comes into contact with other life forms, there is a fixed 1% chance that it will directly poison the enemy to death. Note: this talent is only effective on life forms below the low-tier deity elementary grade. Did I obtain an enchantment skill? Zhou was surprised. However, he could not help but frown slightly when he saw the note at the back. If it was only effective against life forms below the low-tier elementary grade, the effect of this talent would be greatly reduced. He suddenly thought of something, and his expression changed slightly. Then, Zhou first took out an extraordinary tier sword from his king's treasure box. Then he tried to attach poison to its surface. A black light flashed, and then the longsword had already begun to emit a faint black light. This was the sign of successful enchantment. However, Zhou suddenly looked pleasantly surprised after the enchantment was successful. This was because he realized that after enchanting once, the chaotic origin energy in his body had only been consumed by about 5%, which meant, if he made it with all his might, he could completely create 20 poison potions that had a chance of killing low-tier deities in a short period of time, or 20 weapons that had a chance of killing low-tier deities. From the looks of it, this talent was quite valuable. Chapter 588 Legendary Tier Toxin Immunity. News of the Cerulean Planet. Zhou looked at the talent skill of the Death Curse Goo Poison, and nodded slightly. This skill was not so useless from the number of times it could be used. Then he looked at the other awakened abilities. Race Talent Name: Legendary Tier Toxin Immunity. Talent Level: Legendary Tier Advanced Grade. Talent Description: As a member of the 10,000 Goo race, you are naturally immune to toxins below the legendary tier. This race talent was not bad. On the high continent, there were many plants and animals with toxin properties because of its vast area. With this talent, he would at least not be afraid of toxins below the god tier in the future. As for the other 3 awakened abilities, the 10,000 Goo Holy Scripture, Book 1, was the exclusive secret manual of the 10,000 Goo King race. It recorded all kinds of poison goo, goo control techniques, and some common sense and profound knowledge when handling the goo. It could be said to be an encyclopedia of Goo Dao knowledge. However, the Goo Dao encyclopedia recorded in it was considered profound among the 10,000 Goo King race, but it was ordinary in the eyes of the 10,000 Goo Emperor race, and even the 10,000 Goo God race. As for the subsequent content, only when the 10,000 Goo King body advanced to the 10,000 Goo Emperor body would it awaken the 10,000 Goo Holy Scripture, Book 2. Only when the 10,000 Goo Emperor body advanced to the 10,000 Goo Divine body would it awaken the 10,000 Goo Holy Scripture, Book 3. The third volume would be the time when the 10,000 Goo Holy Scripture was completely unsealed. The 10,000 Goo Divine body is too far away from me. I can give the 10,000 Goo Emperor body a try. Zhou thought. As for the general knowledge and secrets of the 10,000 Goo royal family, there was naturally no need to mention them. At this moment, his body suddenly trembled, and he felt that his bloodline seemed to have changed slightly. Zhou's expression changed slightly when he came back to his senses. What happened? Then he heaved a sigh of relief. This was because he realized that his chaos human bloodline had optimized the original spirit talent of the original spirit race. He examined it. After being optimized by the chaos human bloodline, in future, He could choose not to send the small world in his body into the myriad worlds, and become one of them if he died. Instead, he chose to continue storing it in his corpse, and continue the operation of the world in his body. Zhou was a little confused. What's the use of this? He thought for a while but had no clue, so he stopped thinking about it. After that, he thought for a moment and realized that there was nothing else. He stood up and left the intermediate grade Lord's paradise to come to the Lord's shop. When he arrived, he realized that Zhou Qingmin had been waiting for a long time. He was sitting in front of the television, holding the controller, and looking forward to it. His eyes lit up when he saw Zhou. You're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Zhou Qingmin stood up with a smile, and pulled Zhou to sit on the small horse sap beside him. Then, he did not hand him the controller immediately. Instead, he placed a small table beside their horse sap. There were all kinds of snacks on the small table. Spicy slices, marshmallows, crispy palm rice crackers. Zhou looked at the snacks with a strange expression. Little old man, you've exposed your age. He didn't think too much about it and casually asked, what game are you playing today? Take your pick, Zhou Qingmin said with a smile. Then, he took out a large number of gaming cards from the cabinet under the television. Ninja Turtle series, Squirrel Combat series, Ninja Cat, Green Army, Mushroom Top, Ice Crack. All kinds of classic small games were inside. Where did you get these game cards? Zhou was a little surprised to see so many game cards. I went to the Cerulean planet to get it, Zhou Qingmin said casually. Then, he suddenly reacted and immediately widened his eyes and shut his mouth. Zhou looked shocked. Cerulean planet? You've been to the Cerulean planet? He immediately stood up excitedly. Even though the Cerulean planet was not Earth, he had also stayed on this Cerulean planet that was very similar to Earth for many years. He still had some feelings for it. Therefore, he really wanted to know how the Cerulean planet was doing. Why are you excited? Why are you excited? Sit down, let's continue playing the game. Zhou Qingmin wanted to bluff his way through. However, Zhou was not so easy to fool. You're back on the Cerulean planet. How's the Cerulean planet doing now? Can you bring me back to the Cerulean planet with you? Can we still return to the Cerulean planet in the future? Zhou asked one after another. A look of helplessness flashed across Zhou Qingmin's face. Who should I ask if you ask me? He said. You must know something. Zhou was not sure if what he said was true, but he looked very certain on the surface. I don't know. You do? I really don't know. Zhou. He looked at him and thought for a moment. He gritted his teeth and said, if you tell me about the Cerulean planet, I'll play games with you for the next 3 days. Zhou Qingmin's eyes lit up slightly. Then he pretended to be helpless. I really don't know. 5 days. No matter how much you ask, I don't know. Why would I lie to you? 10 days. 14 days. 2 weeks. Zhou Qingmin suddenly said. Deal. Joy appeared on Zhou's face. With his current physical strength, it was not a problem for him not to sleep for the rest of his life. The reason why he still maintained his habit of sleeping every day was because this Buddhist habit was difficult to change. In addition, there was the scarlet fog at night, so it was not easy for him to go out and fight. Since he could not do anything, he naturally followed his habits and went to sleep. Now that he could obtain such important information at such an insignificant price, he was naturally very happy. Seeing this, Zhou Qingmin sighed and said, actually, you don't have to miss your hometown too much. As long as you stay alive, you will have a chance to return in the future. Then how's the situation on the Cerulean planet now? Zhou asked. The Cerulean planet is currently in a state of time standstill. There are also some old people and children. These old people and children were not chosen to become lords because they did not have the conditions to participate in the Lord of All Races contest. Currently, they're in a time standstill like the Cerulean planet. They'll be fine. Zhou Qingmin hesitated for a moment before saying, there will be a chance to return to the Cerulean planet in the future? What kind of opportunity? Zhou nodded and asked curiously. I don't know about that either. I just know that you have a chance to return to the Cerulean planet. As for what opportunity it is, you have to ask the Supreme Will. Zhou Qingmin said. Zhou Zhou did not hesitate and asked the Supreme Will, which did not reply. The Supreme Will didn't reply to me. Zhou Zhou said helplessly. I can tell you that there's something fishy about the future. Zhou Qingmin pursed his lips. Zhou Zhou scratched his head helplessly. How do you know these things? Zhou Zhou thought for a moment and asked again. I'm a companion life form of the mythical tier, the only Lord Talent after all. I'm also a worker under the Supreme Will. Isn't it normal for me to know some inside information? Zhou Qingmin said calmly. Zhou Zhou was speechless and envious. What an insider! Chapter 589 Three Goods. Is there anything else you can tell me? Zhou Zhou asked again. That's it. I'm going to be punished just by telling you this. Don't think I'll tell you more. Zhou Qingmin shook his head firmly. Zhou Zhou could not help but ask a few more times. However, seeing that the other party was really tight-lipped and could not get any information, he had no choice but to give up asking. He sat down, picked up the controller, and began to play games with Zhou Qingmin. The next morning, Zhou Zhou looked at the words clear, displayed on the television in front of him and smiled. Then, he looked at Zhou Qingmin. Old Zhou, do you have any good goods today? He asked expectantly. This depends on the mood of the Supreme Will. But, there should be some, right? Zhou Qingmin coughed twice. Then he stood up and walked to the counter. He took out 3 silver boxes and placed them on the table. Then he opened them one by one. To Zhou Zhou's surprise, there was a cultivation importation jade slip in all 3 boxes. He naturally knew about this. His Chaos Origin Manual came from a cultivation importation jade slip given to him by Qi Xiantian. Don't tell me these 3 goods all come from Qi Xiantian? Zhou Zhou guessed in his heart. Then he looked at them one by one. In the end, he was a little surprised that these 3 cultivation imparting jade slips were really from Qi Xiantian. The first cultivation importation jade slip recorded Qi Zuanshan's cultivation technique. The Epic Tier Advanced Grades Myriad Sword Immortal Scripture. The third cultivation imparting jade slip recorded Qi Zuanshan's second strongest sword array. The Epic Tier Advanced Grade Great 5 Elements Sword Array. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up as he looked at the 3 cultivation importation jade slips. Even though they were all only Epic Tier goods, he did not underestimate these 3 goods. One had to know that Qi Xiantian had relied on these 3 goods to kill a true Immortal Tier Elementary Grade existence as an Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Even though Qi Zuanshan's Heavenly Sword Immortal Body played an important role, it could not erase the effects of the content recorded in the 3 cultivation importation jade slips. And most importantly, he saw that at the end of the 3 goods, it was marked that these 3 goods could be used by others, which meant he could completely use these 3 goods to create another sword god. How many mist cores do these 3 goods cost? Zhou Zhou thought for a moment and asked. The Strength Imparting Jade Slip of the Sword Immortal Manual is worth 1,000 Epic Tier Mist Cores and 1,000 Epic Tier Territory Tokens. The Strength Imparting Jade Slip of the Myriad Sword Immortal Formation is worth 300 Epic Tier Mist Cores and 300 Epic Tier Territory Tokens. The Great 5 Elements Sword Array's Strength Imparting Jade Slip is worth 100 Epic Tier Mist Cores and 100 Epic Tier Territory Tokens. Zhou Qingmin said. Why is it so expensive? Zhou Zhou was shocked. This price was even more expensive than some legendary tier items. Zhou Qingmin smiled and did not say anything. Zhou Zhou looked at him twice and shifted his gaze guiltily. It seemed that Zhou Qingmin also knew the true value of these 3 goods. He took out 280 legendary tier mist cores and handed them to the other party, without saying anything else. This small amount of money was naturally nothing to him, who had just obtained more than 10,000 legendary tier mist cores. Then, Zhou Zhou did not stay any longer. After leaving, he sent someone to call Qi Xiantian over. Qi Xiantian came over. Greetings, Your Majesty. Qi Xiantian carried the 5-colored immortal sword on his back and said respectfully to Zhou Zhou. Zhou Zhou nodded and handed the 3 goods he had just bought to the other party. Qi Xiantian was shocked when he saw the 3 goods. The content recorded in these 3 cultivation importation jade slips could be considered a sect-guarding cultivation technique, even in their myriad sword immortal sect. This was because even though they were epic-tier cultivation techniques and sword arrays on the surface, they were in fact the higher-level corresponding secret manuals and sword formations of the immortal technique pavilion of the myriad sword immortal sect. The myriad sword immortal sect had never easily taught an immortal art inheritance of this level to outsiders. Even he, who was peerlessly talented, was bestowed with such an immortal technique after cultivating in the myriad sword immortal sect for many years and making many contributions. How did His Majesty obtain it? Don't care where they come from. Don't worry. They're definitely innocent. Zhou Zhou glanced at Qi Xiantian, and guess what he was thinking? After casually explaining, he asked, "After this king obtained them, I remembered that you know how to use them the best in our kingdom. That's why I asked you to come. I want to ask you, who do you think is most suitable to cultivate these 3 cultivation techniques in our kingdom?" Qi Xiantian fell into deep thought. I think that other than Xiao Xian, there is definitely no one else with the highest cultivation aptitude in our kingdom who is qualified to cultivate the 3 cultivation techniques and sword formation, he said seriously. Zhou Zhou nodded. Qi Zuanshan's words were exactly what he wanted. Xiao Xian was a talent with the potential of a true god-tier advanced grade. Later on, after being enhanced by the Sun Moon Star Sword, his aptitude jumped to the Master God-tier advanced grade and reached the limit of the world. According to the immortal world, Xiao Xian's aptitude had already reached the Saint tier. In addition, there was a comprehensive martial arts and immortal Dao talent, like the immortal martial sacred body, among his 5 great talents. Qi Xiantian was definitely right. There are follow-ups to these 3 cultivation techniques in the myriad sword immortal sect, right? Zhou Zhou suddenly asked. Yes. Can you still contact your sect now? What do you think of your sect? Especially in terms of nurturing disciples? Qi Xiantian knew what Zhou Zhou meant. His expression changed and he said solemnly, I have a special voice transmission talisman that can contact the sect. In addition, the myriad sword immortal sect from is one of the top righteous immortal sects in the entire immortal world. It's definitely not inferior to the other sects in terms of nurturing disciples. Zhou Zhou nodded. I should have a chance to go to your immortal world in the future, right? Of course. Qi Xiantian said seriously. Your Majesty, the territory of the lords of all races is definitely not limited to just one high continent. According to the divination master in my sect, the high continent will be at most a main battlefield in the future. But the other realms will also be very important battlefields in the future. The myriad worlds. No world can escape. This is also one of the reasons why I came out to train, and am willing to become His Majesty's subordinate. Zhou Zhou nodded thoughtfully. Would the other realms also become the battlefield of the lords? Then he had to prepare early. You will be in charge of teaching Xiao Xian in the future. I won't mistreat you in terms of military merits. If there's a chance in the future, let's see if I can introduce Xiao Xian to your myriad sword immortal sect through your connections. Zhou Zhou thought for a moment and said, Yes, Your Majesty. Qi Xiantian immediately accepted the order. Zhou Zhou nodded. Then Qi Xiantian left after chatting for a while. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou was about to walk out of his residence and go to the gate of summoning to summon the subjects when Atli suddenly came over and said that Zheng Yuanqi wanted to see him. Zhou Zhou did not think too much about it and asked Zheng Yuanqi to come over. Chapter 590 New Profession, Demon Hunter. Your Majesty, what a joyous occasion. Zheng Yuanqi said happily as soon as he arrived. What joyous occasion? Zhou Zhou was a little surprised. A large group of refugees who wanted to join the Blazing Sun Kingdom arrived outside the city gate just now. I saw their numbers. It's about 5 million. Most importantly, more than 70% of them are female refugees. Zheng Yuanqi said excitedly. Zhou Zhou gasped slightly. Good God. There were a total of 5 million refugees. Moreover, more than 70% of them were female refugees. This was too exaggerated. Was beauty really so important? Zhou Zhou was a little confused. However, this was a good thing. And it was foreseeable. then there would definitely be more and more refugees coming to join the Blazing Sun Kingdom in the future, since it was only the second day after the beautifying effects spread, and the number of refugees who came had increased from 1 million to 5 million. Treat them well. Let's strive to make these refugees subjects of the Blazing Sun Kingdom in the smoothest and fastest way. And from today onwards, send troops to the path where the refugees have to pass and arrange for sentries and protective measures. Try not to let anything happen to them while maintaining order among them. Let them feel the care and concern our Blazing Sun Kingdom gives them before they become subjects of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Your Majesty is wise, Zheng Yuanqi said with a smile. Actually, he had also thought of this. Originally, he wanted to mention it too, but since His Majesty had thought of it, he naturally would not do such a stupid thing to compete for glory with His Majesty. I'll leave the matter of accepting subjects to you in the future. Zhou said seriously. I will do my best. Zheng Yuanqi said solemnly. Zhou nodded. After that, the two of them chatted for a while before Zheng Yuanqi left. There were too many of these 5 million refugees. He had to go over and take charge of the situation. Zhou looked at Zheng Yuanqi's back view and smiled. With these 6 million new subjects, the atmosphere in his territory finally eased. In fact, he had clearly felt it yesterday. With the million new refugees, his territory was clearly less impetuous. The smiles on every subject's faces increased. Even the average loyalty of the subjects had clearly increased. He opened the Lord Talent information of peace and prosperity. Lord Talent, peace and prosperity diamond tier. Peace and prosperity, same as before. Specific talent effect 1, same as before. Specific talent effect 2, same as before. Specific talent effect 3, same as before. Specific talent effect 4, same as before. Specific talent effect 5. When the number of subjects with loyalty of 90 points and above in the territory reaches 1 million, peace and prosperity will advance to the extraordinary tier Lord Talent, peaceful times. Current number of people, 961, 299/1, 000, 960,000 already? Zhou nodded in satisfaction. At this rate of growth, he would probably be able to achieve it the day after tomorrow. When the time comes, he could directly freeload an extraordinary tier Lord Talent. Just thinking about it made him feel good. Then, he left and walked towards the gate of summoning. In front of the gate of summoning, Zhou looked at the building in front of him. Prompt. Do you want to summon immediately? Yes. The next second, the gate of summoning suddenly lit up with a bright white light. Then, the 4,000 new subjects walked out of the gate of summoning. Greetings, my lord. X4, 000, all the new subjects said respectfully. Welcome to the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Zhou smiled. Then, he asked all the professionals to stand up, and realized that he had summoned 241 professionals this time. There were 35 more professionals than usual. Then, he began to check the information of these professional subjects. Among the 241 professional subjects were 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Demon Hunter, 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Martial Master, 2 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Blacksmiths, 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Tailor, and 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Gardener. The rest were Diamond Tier Elementary Grade and below life professionals and combat professionals. Demon Hunter? Zhou raised his eyebrows. It had been a long time since he had seen new professionals. He looked at the new subject. This person was tall and had a vigorous face. His calm eyes carried a hint of scarlet that was deeply hidden. He held a demon saber in his hand and carried a demon bow on his back. There were bottles and jars hanging from his waist. He looked different from a mortal. Zhou opened his attribute information. Subject, Gurton. Territory, Blazing Sun Kingdom. Combat class name, Demon Hunter. Profession class, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade. Ability overview. The young Gurton resolved to become a demon hunter when he grew up after his parents died at the hands of the abyssal demons because of a demon disaster. After a hard search, Gurton found the legendary demon hunter master, Geralt, and successfully acknowledged him as his master. Later on, Gurton disappeared. While Gurton was looking for his teacher, He also kept going to the abyss to hunt abyssal demons. Until one day, he received a summon from the Lord. So he came to the Blazing Sun Kingdom and became a subject of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Skills: Talent Demon Sense, Talent Bloodseeker Blood, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Demon Arms, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Demon Slaying Arrow, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Bloodseeker Armor, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Bloodseeker Shapeshift, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Lithe of Spirit Cat, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Silent Stealth, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Arms Repair. Loyalty: 85. Potential: Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Zhou looked at the attribute panel and nodded slightly. Not bad. However, it was not very outstanding. Zhou's standards were also higher now. If he saw this interface when he first came to the High Continent, he would definitely be shocked. Nowadays, however, he felt that it was very ordinary. Nonetheless, he was still quite interested in the profession of demon hunter. Therefore, he started chatting with Gerton. During the conversation, Zhou gradually learned the origins of the demon hunter profession. Demon hunters were a group of life forms who regarded demons as mortal enemies. At the same time, in order to obtain power to destroy the demons and fuse with the demon bloodline to obtain demon abilities and walk the path of an extraordinary tier. The potential of these demon hunters was based on the fusion of the demon bloodline. The stronger the fused demon bloodline, the higher the potential and future achievement. The weaker the fused demon bloodline, the lower the potential and the lower the achievement. This extraordinary tier class that did not need a class change certificate or long-term training to obtain extraordinary tier power looked good. But in fact, there were huge hidden dangers. Firstly, the lifespan of every demon hunter was extremely short. In this extraordinary tier world, the strongest demon hunter would not even live to be 50 years old. Secondly, since demon hunters obtained power by fusing with the demon bloodline, it was very easy for them to be bewitched by the unholy power in the demon bloodline during their growth, causing them to lose their will and become demons that only knew how to kill. Finally, it was the problem of the demon bloodline deciding the level of achievement. It could be said that the demon hunter was an extraordinary tier class with a very high upper limit and took shape very quickly, but it also had many flaws. After Zhou understood the information of this profession, he could not help but fall into deep thought. Chapter 591: The Event of the King of 10,000 Kings, that was about to commence gradually. Zhou's eyes lit up with interest. The upper limit of a demon hunter was very high and took shape very quickly. This was something he valued very much. Its so-called shortcoming was actually caused by the incompatibility between the life form bloodline and the demon bloodline. Demon hunters had a short lifespan because it was not completely compatible. There was a chance that they would be devoured by the demon bloodline and become a demon dweller. However, this was not a problem for Zhou. This was because he was a chaos human. The optimization ability of the chaos human bloodline could completely optimize the shortcomings of these demon bloodlines. In addition, his chaos human bloodline could be infinitely compatible with other bloodlines. Other demon hunters could only fuse 1 or 2 demon bloodlines and had to worry about conflict between them. However, Zhou could fuse with countless types of demon bloodlines and obtain many demon abilities without worrying about hidden dangers. The most painful problem to the demon hunters could be completely ignored by Zhou. Therefore, if Zhou chose to become a demon hunter, he would definitely be the perfect demon hunter. As long as I level up the full-time master of the battle god again, I can completely take on another demon hunter profession. Zhou thought to himself. It had to be said. He was very tempted. This demon hunter was too compatible with the chaos human bloodline. It was simply like an extraordinary tier class specially designed for the chaos human bloodline. It was second only to the chi practitioner he had now. Do you know what to do if I want to become a demon hunter? Thinking of this, Zhou asked Gerton. Gerton was stunned. He could feel that His Majesty had an extremely strong class aura on him. Why did His Majesty ask such a question? Your Majesty, the future troubles of becoming a demon hunter are extremely dangerous. You have a noble status. It's best not to be too involved with the profession of a demon hunter. Gerton tried his best to dissuade him tactfully. Zhou was not angry and chuckled. Gerton could only choose to believe His Majesty's words. Then, he nodded and said that he knew the way to become a demon hunter. Zhou nodded. He was a little happy. He now had 3 bloodlines that could be upgraded indefinitely. Vampire bloodline, 10,000 Gu race bloodline, Abyssal demon bloodline. He already had a way to obtain the first 2. The latter was even easier. The Night Temple itself led straight to the front line of the Abyss. If he suggested to the Night Temple that he wanted to go to the Abyss to conquer it, the other party would almost have no chance of refusing with his importance in the eyes of the Night Temple. After thinking this through, Zhou stopped chatting. After getting someone to arrange the residence and work of these new subjects, he led his troops to the monster ranch to clean up and retrieve the loots. As Mu Gu did not add a new monster ranch, the loot obtained today was similar to yesterday. Among the most important mist cores, he had obtained a total of 18. 2 million green bronze tier mist cores, 11 million white silver tier mist cores 7, 2 million yellow gold tier mist cores 6, 33 million white platinum tier mist cores, 2,417,000 diamond tier mist cores, and 88,000 extraordinary tier mist cores. In terms of soldier type class change and recruitment books, he obtained a total of more than 14 million soldier type class change certificates, 1,375,000 king of yellow gold recruitment books, 161,000 poison crossbow soldier recruitment books, 960 elemental archer recruitment books, 249,987 aurora cavalry recruitment books, 3 million violent storm spirit recruitment books. As for the other loots, they were not very precious and important, so it was pointless to mention. Zhou was very satisfied with so many gains. After all, there were more than 4 million soldier-type recruitment books. He did not waste any time. He brought so many recruitment books to the Gate of Summoning and spent the Mist Corps to recruit all the new recruits. Zhou looked at the 4 million new recruits in front of him and subconsciously smiled. Some of these recruits had a total of 14,962,460 soldiers under his command, coupled with the more than 4 million soldiers of the Star Alliance Masters. The total number of troops under his command had already exceeded 20 million, reaching the terrifying number of 23.4 million soldiers. This number happened to be the number of people of foreign races from the previous 16 countries. It was also worth mentioning that the Lords of the Star Alliance had all participated in the ceremony yesterday, because it was the founding ceremony, so they did not go out to instigate with their insight defection. Even though he had wasted a day of insight defection, it was only a day. 20% of his military might only be hundreds of thousands of soldiers. In addition, yesterday was a special day, so Zhou did not pay much attention to it. After cleaning up the monster ranch, Zhou did not do anything else. Instead, he let the soldiers rest for a while and quietly waited for the King of 10,000 Kings event to begin. Taking advantage of this time, Zhou first opened the Kingdom channel to see the reactions of the subjects and the Star Alliance Masters. In the end, he realized that none of his subjects or the Lords of the Star Alliance were afraid of the upcoming King of 10,000 Kings event. They even looked forward to it, so that their insight defection could show its might. Zhou smiled when he saw this. His insight defection lord talent was indeed a good talent. In just a few days, these life lords who were previously afraid of war had actually become like this. Then, he opened the World Channel. The Lords of the World Channel were much more pessimistic. So many Cerulean planet lords died in the previous myriad races lord battlefield. I wonder if he'll die this time. Don't be pessimistic, brothers. The event hasn't begun yet. We can't look down on ourselves first. Gather our courage first. To be honest, what you fight on the battlefield is true strength. Courage is useful but not much. Big Boss Blazing Sun became number 1 in the last event. Do you think he can still become number 1 in this event? I don't think that's possible. Do they really think that lords from top-notch race forces are useless? We can't even imagine the foundation of their race civilization. In the Cerulean planet civilization, the racial civilization with the longest duration without interruption, has only been around for 5,000 years. How can this compare to those racial civilizations that have developed for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of years? I think the Lord of the Blazing Sun was only lucky to obtain first place last time. Lucky? I laughed. Let me see if you're lucky? His Majesty is still capable. I'm a Lord of the Star Alliance. Don't think that you can say whatever you want just because you're talking on the World Channel. If you dare to badmouth our Majesty, be careful that we will find you one day. Zhou looked at the World Channel calmly and thought of the top lords of the original spirit race and the others he had encountered previously. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. At this moment, a line of golden text suddenly appeared in front of Zhou. All the lords of all races, and even the local lords. Supreme Will notification. The King of 10,000 Kings event is about to begin. Lords, please be prepared. Chapter 592 King of 10,000 Kings 1. Zhou could not help but perk up when he saw the notification. The King of 10,000 Kings event had finally begun. A new activity notification appeared before he could react. They'll begin to announce the introduction and rules of the King of 10,000 Kings event now. King of 10,000 Kings event description. After the Supreme Will led the lords of all races to the myriad race battlefield. While the Crimson Overlord did not care about the power of the new lords, it still strengthened its attack on the Lord factions under the Supreme Will. It wanted to take down the local Lord factions as quickly as possible, and then turn to destroy the lords of all races. Under the attack of the endless Scarlet Lord forces, the local Lord forces of the myriad worlds were under extreme pressure. No egg is unbroken when the nest is overturned. The lords of all races needed to do their best to help the local Lord factions survive this crisis in the full offensive of the Scarlet Lord faction this time. Only then could they extend their development time and accumulate more stronger factions before the true Scarlet Crisis erupted. In order to let the lords of all races participate in the battle with all their might, and to select outstanding lords, the Supreme Will specially launched this King of 10,000 Kings event. The following are the specific rules of the event. Specific Event Rule 1. In this King of 10,000 Kings event, the lords of all races can temporarily join any kingdom or empire faction to fight the Crimson Kingdom or the Crimson Empire under the Crimson Overlord. Specific Event Rule 2. Lords of all races who join the Kingdom faction/Empire faction can obtain the corresponding faction points and other rewards by completing the corresponding faction quests. Those who perform well in the war can obtain additional achievements, which is equivalent to a different number of faction points. Specific Event Rule 3. This event has two rankings, the Kingdom/Empire Camp ranking and the Lord of all races camp ranking. The former covers all the lords of all races who join the Kingdom/Empire camp. The latter is only limited to the lords of a single race who have the most points. Specific Event Rule 3. After the event ends, the lords of all races ranked first on the Kingdom/Empire faction point ranking can obtain the Legendary/Mythical Tier King title reward, 1 Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Kingdom token, 100 to 1, 000 Reputation Rating reward, and Faction reward. The lords of all races ranked first on the Lord's faction point ranking could obtain the highest level Permanent King of 10,000 Kings title reward, 1 Kingdom token with special abilities, 100,000 Reputation Rating points, 10 Mythical Reputation Rating points, Faction reward, and 1 Mythical Treasure Chest reward. Specific Event Rule 4. In this event, the lords of all races can choose to join many non-hostile kingdoms, but they need a certain level of diplomacy. Specific Event Rule 5. This event will last for a month. After a month, the 330th Supreme Army will descend on the myriad races battlefield and repel all the invading Scarlet Lord forces. Special hint. During the event, a King of 10,000 Kings function icon will be added to the function list of the lords. You can click on this icon through your consciousness and obtain specific activity information. The King of 10,000 Kings function icon has been added to your Lord function list. You can choose to join a designated faction in the corresponding function. Zhou read it twice and had a rough idea. He opened the Lord function. As expected, he found the function icon of the King of 10,000 Kings on the rightmost side of the Lord's personal information. Cerulean Planet Lord's Marketplace, Reputation Ranking, Friend List, and Virtual Lord Battlefield. He opened the icon and looked at it. There were 4 options inside. They were Join the Faction, Faction Quests, Achievement List, and Faction Points Ranking. Zhou clicked on Join the Faction. In the end, he realized that there was a large number of factions he could join. Among them, the first place was Human Race Knight Empire, Friendly. The second was Elves, Elven Empire, Friendly. Behind them were some Kingdom-level Lord factions, and Empire-level Lord factions at the Diplomacy level, Initial Acquaintance. Zhou took a rough look. He realized that they were all Lord factions of the human race. He thought for a moment and remembered. Previously, he had participated in a dinner party invited by the Knight Temple. During that dinner party, he had gotten to know many human big shots. Behind these human big shots seemed to be these kingdoms and empires. I didn't expect to establish diplomatic relations after just a meal. Those human big shots really care about me, Zhou thought. Then, his gaze landed on the top 2 Lord factions. Among them, the human race, Knight Empire, was one of the most important forces to establish the Knight Temple. Not only was it one of the only 5 empires of the human race, the Lord of the Knight Temple, by he, was also from the Knight Empire. With the relationship with the Knight Temple, Zhou was not surprised that the Knight Empire had friendly diplomatic relations with the Blazing Sun Kingdom. After all, the Knight Temple and the Knight Empire had sent people to participate in the founding ceremony yesterday, and had even given them quite expensive gifts. What surprised Zhou was his diplomatic relations with the Elven Empire. He had not interacted much with the Elven Empire other than Nadia. He did not expect their diplomatic relations to have already reached the level of friendliness. Zhou was even more surprised when he thought of how Nadia had given the Elven Mother Trees sacred leaf on behalf of the Elven Empress. That Elven Empress really values me. Most of this friendly diplomacy level was probably contributed by the Elven Empress. Zhou thought for a moment and clicked to join these 2 factions. As for the factions with initial acquaintance, Zhou had no intention of joining for the time being. There was a limited time for the event, and his military strength was also limited. It was impossible for him to invest all his military strength in every country to complete their faction mission. He could only obtain the greatest benefits if he gathered all his forces on the 2 national factions with the highest diplomatic relations. It would not be too late to join the other factions to dig up faction quests, after excavating the quests of these 2 empire factions. Text notifications appear one after another. You have chosen to join the Elven Empire faction. Applying. You have chosen to join the Human Knight Empire camp. Applying. He still had to apply. Zhou did not think too much about it, and prepared to wait for a while. However, in less than 2 to 3 seconds, a new text notification appeared. The Elven Empire has approved your application. You have successfully joined this empire's camp. There is an additional Elven Empire camp channel added to your channel. Spatial teleportation array, Elven Empire, has been established. The Human Knight Empire has approved your application. You have successfully joined this empire's camp. There is an additional Knight Empire camp channel added to your channel. The spatial teleportation array, Knight Empire, has been established. Zhou was stunned. Already, he didn't think too much about it, and felt that it might be the same for every country. Chapter 593 King of 10,000 Kings 2. However, what Zhou did not know was that most of the Cerulean Planet Lords had yet to have the chance to establish diplomatic relations with Kingdom-level Lord factions, or Empire-level Lord factions, because they had only been in the High Continent for a short period of time. Therefore, after they opened the Join the Faction function, they suddenly realized that there were no factions they could join. Only a small number of cerulean planet lords, who chose to go out to see the forces of local lords, at the early stage of the territory's development, were lucky enough to reach the diplomatic relations conditions and join the kingdom or empire faction. However, even so, these cerulean planet lords did not receive replies for a long time after choosing to join the faction, especially the lords who chose the empire camp. Due to the huge territory of the empire's camp, the lord factions of the lord of all races neighboring it could be said to be vast. The number of lords who joined was countless. Therefore, after they chose to join, they did not obtain the approval of the application for a long time. They would only be considered after a while. Unlike Zhou, he joined in less than 2 to 3 seconds. It could be seen how much these two empires valued Zhou. In this King of 10,000 Kings event, the selection and removal, hidden rule, that was not described had already begun from the moment he joined the faction. Speaking of which, Zhou opened the World Channel. As expected, he discovered 2 new channels on the right side of the World Channel and the Kingdom Channel. They were the Elven Empire Camp Channel and Night Empire Camp Channel. Zhou looked at the 2 channels curiously. Even though these 2 channels had just been established, dozens of Lord comments had already appeared. Praise the great Elven Empire. After the Supreme will announce this event, the first thing I thought of was to serve the Empire. To serve Her Majesty the Empress. Therefore I was the first to come. TSK. I just wanted to give it a try. I didn't expect it to really succeed. Wow, so many lords have joined so quickly. I thought I was the first. I'm the second to arrive. The first is the Lord of the Blazing Sun. You know who he is even without me saying anything, right? Fuck. The strongest lord of all races from the last event. He actually joined our Elven Empire. The tiny human lord should admire our Elven Empire very much. So he joined our Elven Empire immediately after the faction appeared. At Blazing Sun Kingdom, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Big boss, how did you defeat so many top-notch lords of races and become the strongest lord of all races? How did you build a kingdom so quickly? Can you tell me? Zhou looked at the dozens of comments in confusion. He never expected that he would be mentioned, even though he was only diving. However, he had no intention of replying. But at this moment, another line of comments appeared. Original Elven Empress, Elizariel. I've added you as a friend. Accept it. The camp channel was filled with ellipses mixed with bold question marks. Zhou was also stunned. Then, he hurriedly opened the friend request and found the Elven Empress friend request. Then he chose to accept it. Blazing Sun Kingdom, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Accepted. Original Elven Empress Elizariel, okay. Then she sent a private message. Original Elven Empress Elizariel, when will you come over? Blazing Sun Kingdom, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Am preparing to go over soon. Original Elven Empress Elizariel. Okay, come straight to the Imperial Palace when you arrive. I'll tell you about our enemy. Blazing Sun Kingdom, Lord of the Blazing Sun, alright. The other party stopped sending messages. Zhou was a little stunned. He still did not dare to believe that this existence who spoke so casually and generously was actually the supreme ruler of the Elven Empire. Her tone was as natural as asking him to go over for lunch. Zhou scratched his head. Even though he was a little surprised by this Empress personality, it was not a bad thing to be so easygoing with. At this moment, he realized that there was also someone at him on the Night Empire Camp Channel. He opened it and realized that the person who had tagged him was a knight called Alina. Alina, King of the Blazing Sun, am the daughter of the Lord of the Night Empire. You can call me Alina Andorra. Alina, please accept my friend request. I have something to discuss with you. After she finished speaking, the Night Empire Camp Channel was also in chaos. No one expected the daughter of the dignified Empire Lord to take the initiative to contact a lord of all races. However, everyone understood after knowing the identity and background of the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Then they felt envious. Zhou clicked his tongue. He did not say much and directly approved the other party's friend request. He also told the other party that he would go to them to discuss the specific war after he dealt with his matters. With the help of these two important figures of the empire, I should be included in the faction quests. Zhou was also a little happy when he thought about how these two big shots had taken the initiative to interact. With these two layers of relationship, perhaps he could receive some faction quests with high faction points. This was undoubtedly extremely beneficial to him, increasing the ranking of the faction, and even fighting for the title of King of 10,000 Kings. At this moment, Bai Yin walked towards him. At the same time, Wu Tu and 9 heroes followed behind her. 3 of the heroes were heroes from the Aurora Kingdom. The other 6 heroes were all new faces. "Greetings, Your Majesty," they immediately said respectfully to Zhou when they arrived. "There's no need to be so polite. Get up." Zhou chuckled. When the heroes heard this, they stood up respectfully. "I'm the Dark Spirit Mage Sun Yu. Thank you for resurrecting me, Your Majesty. I have nothing to repay you. I can only pledge my loyalty to Your Majesty with my old, weak, sickly, and disabled body." Sun Yu shakily walked out of the heroes and thanked Zhou. He was wearing a dark black cloak and holding a dark black staff. His entire body emitted a dark aura. There were many wrinkles on his face. With a pair of glasses on his eyes, he did not look like an unholy mage at all. Instead, he had the temperament of an old pedant. "I've long heard that you sacrificed yourself for the Snow River City, so I've always yearned and admired you. A mere resurrection is nothing. Old sir, there's no need to mention it. In the future, you can work in the Blazing Sun Kingdom in peace." Zhou smiled. "Yes, my lord," Sun Yu said solemnly. Then he retreated. After he retreated to the team, the 2 heroes beside him also stood up. They were the other 2 heroes of the original Aurora Kingdom. After they stood up, they explained to Zhou that they had already joined the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Zhou smiled and nodded. It seemed that the lobbyist he sent out was really good. He had actually invited all 3 heroes of the Aurora Kingdom to the Blazing Sun Kingdom, and became his subjects. After the 2 of them finished speaking, the other 6 new heroes also stood up and bowed respectfully to Zhou. Among the 6 heroes, 3 of the heroes were heroes who had obtained the 3 hero inheritance secret manuals in the military merit exchange system with their achievements. As for the other 3 heroes, they were heroes created by the 3 hero inheritance manuals he had obtained from the 3 heroes of the people of foreign races he had killed outside the capital yesterday. Zhou looked at the 9 new heroes in front of him, and the smile on his face deepened. With these 9 new heroes, the number of heroes under his command had already reached 44. This number was already comparable to the total number of heroes in 11 normal beginner kingdoms. With so many heroes around, he could have a higher chance of increasing his ranking in the face of the King of 10,000 Kings event that had just begun. Chapter 594 Book of the God Spirit, and Wu Tu at this moment. Wu Tu walked over and said respectfully and shamefully, "Your Majesty, I've already absorbed the Book of the God Spirit you rewarded me." Wu Tu never expected this. He, who had made a huge mistake at the founding ceremony, was actually received by His Majesty on the same night. Not only that, but he was also personally given the incomparably precious inheritance of the Book of the God Spirit by His Majesty. This was an honor that even Bai Yun, Wu Xian, and the other veterans had not obtained. He actually obtained it first. This made him both grateful and terrified. Zhou looked at the grateful and terrified expression on Wu Tu's face and sighed softly. "Even though you were indeed at a disadvantage in patrolling yesterday, the other party is too strong. It's not all your fault." Then the Ice Demon God, Bai's God Spirit inheritance is somewhat compatible with your own hero inheritance. Use it in peace. If you don't want to disappoint me, become a god as soon as possible." Zhou said. "Yes, Your Majesty." Wu Tu nodded vigorously. The heavenly army under his command already had a large number of high-level cartographers. He did not need to do the mapping himself every time he went out. As a leader in one of the heroes of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, it was indeed time for him to increase his strength. The strength of a diamond tier advance grade was indeed not enough to convince the masses in front of other domestic heroes who were all extraordinary tier and epic tier. Zhou did not say anything. He only patted his shoulder and asked him to leave. Then, he opened the kingdom channel and entered a small group composed of all the lord components of the Star Alliance. He was naturally the group leader of this small group. Alliance master at everyone. No one has chosen a faction yet, right? Hundreds of replies immediately appeared below. No. I'm ashamed, there's no faction to choose from among my faction options. I do have one, but I don't really want to go. That's a goblin kingdom. The goblins inside are a group of people who bully the weak and fear the strong. Fuck, if I join their faction, I probably won't have any chance of obtaining faction points. At that time, it'll be too unjustifiable if they drag me down and destroy my country with them. +1, I think so too. Unfortunately, even though His Majesty has established a kingdom, it's not a local faction. It's not in the faction option. That's right, follow His Majesty. +1. +2. +11, 111. Zhou looked at the Lord's replies and nodded in satisfaction. It seemed that his Lord subordinates were not rash people. They did not rashly choose to join any available factions. As soon as the event began, he began to type, Alliance Master, bring your soldiers to the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Then, it'll bring you to the two empires to see if you can get two initial acquaintance diplomatic relations. If you succeed, you can accept the faction quests together. As soon as he sent the messages, the lords of the Star Alliance cheered. His Majesty is really strong. He directly got us to cozy up to two empire factions. I'm so happy. Fortunately, I didn't choose the Goblin Kingdom. Long live His Majesty. Long live the Alliance Master. Alliance Master, keep a low profile. Then, he asked Bai Yin to get the soldiers to prepare. At the same time, when the lords of the Star Alliance brought their troops over, they would govern the soldiers together. Then, he called Qi Xiantian and Suan to a school ground and waited for the Star Alliance masters to arrive. The lords came over. Your Majesty. Greetings, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, we're here. After the lords arrived, they surrounded Zhou and said respectfully and excitedly, Have you arranged for the soldiers? Zhou looked at them and asked, It's all arranged. Legion Commander Bai has already taken over. Don't worry, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, when do we set off? There's no time to lose. Let's set off now. Zhou heard the questions from the crowd and said with a faint smile. Then, he led everyone and followed his senses. Soon, they arrived at the two spatial teleportation arrays. What a huge spatial teleportation array. How many people will be teleported this time? This teleportation array is so majestic. It is indeed a spatial teleportation array worthy of being connected to an empire's camp. Did you see that? The ability of this spatial teleportation array is a little awesome. I'm suddenly a little cowardly. Do you think we'll be ambushed and be wiped out all at once when we get there? It shouldn't be, right? The lords of the Star Alliance could not help but exclaim when they saw the two spatial teleportation arrays in front of them. Zhou said nothing. He was also looking at the two spatial teleportation arrays. These two spatial teleportation arrays occupied an extremely vast area. Each spatial teleportation array was actually tens of thousands of square kilometers in size. This area was enough to accommodate tens of millions of soldiers for teleportation. Zhou focused on one of the spatial teleportation arrays. A text notification appeared. Formation name, Spatial Teleportation Array, Night Empire. Formation level, Special level. Formation effect, Super Teleportation. All subjects and resources of the lords of all races within the range of the formation can be teleported to the territory of the Night Empire at any time through the spatial teleportation array. She could also teleport back from the spatial teleportation array in the territory of the Kingdom Camp/Empire Camp. But the life forms of the Kingdom Camp/Empire Camp could not come to the territory of the Lord of all races through this spatial teleportation array. The energy consumed for teleportation is provided by the Supreme Will. Formation description: the exclusive spatial teleportation array for the King of 10,000 Kings event. It will automatically disappear after the King of 10,000 Kings event ends. He looked at the other spatial teleportation array. It was the Elven Empire's spatial teleportation array. What a pity. It will actually disappear after the event. I thought I could freeload 2 spatial teleportation arrays. Zhou muttered in his heart. The effects of these 2 exclusive Empire Camp spatial teleportation arrays could not be said to be weak. Not only was the area extremely vast, it could teleport a large number of soldiers and supplies at once. Most importantly, teleportation of this level was actually free. The Supreme Will was in charge of the teleportation energy. It could be seen how much the Supreme Will valued this event. He turned to look at the Lords of the Star Alliance, who were discussing and communicating with each other. He heard some special voices from it. Afraid that we would be wiped out all at once after teleporting over? Zhou was a little stunned. Then he reacted. Well, these guys still did not know about his diplomatic relations with these 2 empires. It was normal for them to be a little worried about an unknown teleportation trip. He had neglected this aspect, so he did not hesitate, and opened the page with his diplomatic relations between the 2 empires. Then he took a screenshot and sent it to the group, telling everyone not to worry. With diplomatic relations of this level, there would basically be no danger if he teleported over, unless there was an especially big accident. Even if there was really danger, Zhou also had a trump card that could send them and him back safely. Everyone come up. Let's set off for the Night Empire first. Zhou stopped thinking about it. After he finished speaking, he was the first to step onto this spatial teleportation array. Qi Xiantian and Suan followed closely behind. The other Lords of the Star Alliance boldly walked up when they saw this knight. After all the lords walked up, Zhou chanted teleportation in his heart. The next second, the entire spatial teleportation array suddenly emitted a silver light that soared into the sky before gradually disappearing. Zhou and the others also disappeared. Chapter 595 Princess of the Empire. Alina's Heartbeat. Newland Military Fortress of the Night Empire. When Zhou and the others left the darkness and saw their surroundings again, they realized that they had already arrived at a huge military fortress. The entire military fortress looked a little old, but it gave off an indestructible feeling. Most of the people walking on the streets were weathered soldiers. The rest were ordinary subjects. However, if one took a closer look, they would discover that these subjects had an extremely good relationship with the soldiers. They looked like either relatives or good friends. Rows and rows of cavalrymen were gathered around the spatial teleportation array. He took a rough look. There were nearly 10,000 cavalrymen. At this moment, they also discovered the phenomenon of the spatial teleportation array, and saw Zhou and the others. Then, one of them, who was clearly a general, quickly rode over with a team of soldiers. Greetings, everyone. After this general came over, he immediately jumped off his horse and said with a smile. Then, his eyes quickly landed on Zhou's face and his eyes lit up. He looked at the humans beside him, who were basically above the intermediate level, and felt that his guess might be right. You're the king of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, right? As expected of someone who possesses celestial appearance. These subjects of yours are all dragons and phoenixes among men. He smiled in surprise. Even though the Night Empire he was in was quite far from the Blazing Sun Kingdom, he also heard many legends about him. As the Lord of the Blazing Suns, many achievements and rumors spread. Among them, the rumor that one could become better looking by joining the Blazing Sun Kingdom was the most unreliable one he felt. Become good looking after joining a kingdom? How is that possible? It sounded like a lie deliberately made up to attract the refugees from the outside world to join. However, later on, as more and more cases of people becoming handsome and beautiful spread back to the empire, he was already a little swayed, even though he still did not believe it in the depths of his heart. He saw Zhou and his subjects' astounded faces and thought of the previous legend. He immediately guessed that the person who came was the human lord of the Blazing Sun, who had defeated the Lord of all races and obtained the title of the strongest Lord of all races. That's me. Zhou nodded. He looked at him. With his epic tier elementary grade strength and the super sixth senses of the chaos human race, He could see through the other party's strength even without relying on his attribute panel. Legendary tier elementary grade. This general's strength was shockingly at the legendary tier elementary grade. Zhou raised his eyebrows slightly. The Night Empire was really efficient. They actually sent experts of this level, and a group of subordinates, to protect the spatial teleportation array, in such a short period of time. Princess Alina has been waiting for you for a long time. Please follow me. The general said politely just as Zhou was surprised by the other party's efficiency, and looked at him. Even though he looked normal on the surface, he was secretly surprised. What happened? From the looks of it, the other party was only an epic tier elementary grade lord of all races. Even though such strength was already unbelievable in the strength of the lords of all races, he should be nothing to him. A legendary tier elementary grade expert with experience. Why did he actually feel a sense of danger from him that made him tremble in fear? It was as if the other party could kill him with a flick of his finger. Could it be? Was the rumor that this Lord of the Blazing Sun's astonishing combat strength true? But no matter how real it was, it shouldn't be so strong, right? The general realized that he really could not understand the young man in front of him. Zhou could vaguely sense what the other party was thinking. However, he did not say anything. Please lead the way, he said. Please follow me. As for your subordinates. The general nodded and looked at the people behind him, his meaning self-evident. Qi Xiantian, follow me. Suan, stay behind and follow Linger and the others. General, please arrange a place for them to rest for the time being. Is that convenient? Zhou asked after making the arrangements. Of course. Sure. Zhou nodded, and led Qi Xiantian to follow the general towards Princess Alina's palace. Suan followed the other lords of the Star Alliance, and another soldier in another direction. Zhou was not worried about their safety. This was because he had been careful, and placed a bloodbat avatar on Suan before he left. This way, he would be able to know immediately if anything happened to him. Then, he would rush over immediately, or directly activate his Lord talent. Return to the city to bring them back to the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Jade Sun Hall. This was a temporary palace. Zhou and Qi Xiantian walked into the palace under the lead of the general, and quickly saw Princess Alina. Even though this princess name was a little westernized, she had the beautiful face of an Eastern beauty. Her hands were soft and her skin was smooth. Her collarbones were obvious, and she had a delicate head and moth-like eyebrows. She smiled sweetly with her pearly white teeth and looked forward. In terms of appearance, she was not inferior to the top beauty Leia. However, there was clearly something different between the two of them. Leia had the heroic bearing of a princess of a large country. On the other hand, the other party had a noble and ethereal feeling. This temperament. Zhou and Qi Xiantian looked at each other. A Qi practitioner. This princess of the empire with a westernized name was also a Qi practitioner like them? Zhou reacted in time. What was so strange about this? She was the princess of an empire and controlled countless human resources. Wasn't it simple to obtain the Qi practitioner class change certificate and high-level Qi refinement cultivation technique? General Hulu, take your men and leave. I want to talk to this king of the blazing sun alone. At this moment, Alina's voice sounded like a yellow oriole's soft cry. Yes, your highness. General Hulu, who had brought Zhou and the other two over, said without hesitation. Then he turned around and left. You should leave too. I'll have a good chat with this princess. Zhou said to Qi Xiantian. Qi Xiantian did not hesitate and turned to leave. The publicly acknowledged #1 in combat strength in the Blazing Sun Kingdom was not him, but His Majesty. He would indeed be in the way if he continued staying here. After the two of them left the palace with the others, only Zhou and Princess Alina were left in the hall. I wonder why your highness asked me to stay alone. Zhou took the initiative to ask. Princess Alina looked at Zhou under the hall in a daze. So handsome, she subconsciously thought. So this is the celestial appearance? In the past, she had only heard of such an existence from her mother. She thought that it was just a legend. She did not expect to really see it. Moreover, this was the first time she had seen it in reality. It could actually make one's heart race. This guy is even better looking than what Mother described, she thought to herself. Her heart beat faster again. It was a feeling he had never experienced before. Your Highness. Seeing that the other party did not speak for a long time, Zhou spoke again. Cough cough. I heard that the subjects who join your kingdom will become even better looking. Is that true? Alina blurted out. Zhou. Chapter 596 King of 10,000 Kings? Tribulation of all races. Zhou did not expect this to be the first question the princess of an empire would ask him. Everyone loves beauty. It is indeed the ancient truth. Yes. Zhou nodded and admitted it. I really want to see your magical territory. Princess Alina's eyes were filled with curiosity and yearning as she sighed. With the strength of the Night Empire, there will always be a chance when Her Highness is free in the future. Zhou smiled. The spatial teleportation array between them could only teleport the lords of all races to the territory of the Empire's camp. But it could not allow people from the Empire's camp to head to the Lord's territory. It could be seen that this was a measure specially set up by the Supreme will to protect the lords of all races, preventing them from being overtaken by the local lord faction. When I'm free. Princess Alina shook her head with a sigh. She didn't say anything else and smiled. Let me reintroduce myself. I live with my king father and the queen mother. For some reason I have two names. The name that follows my mother is the Alina you're calling now. In addition, I have another name that follows my father, Yuling. Most subjects in the country call me Princess Alina, because I live with my mother most of the time. But I won't mind if you want to call me Princess Yuling. Princess Alina or Princess Yuling smiled. Princess Yuling. Zhou hesitated for a moment, and immediately called out this name. The other party had an Eastern face. Even though she had faint mixed blood characteristics, Zhou still felt that Yuling was more appropriate. Princess Yuling smiled and nodded. This time, the attack of endless scarlet forces swept through the entire high continent covered by all the lord of all races. In the eyes of the lords of all races, the Supreme will calls this incident the King of 10,000 Kings event. And us local kingdoms and empire-level forces learned from the Supreme will that this matter is a tribulation of all races. Zhou raised his eyebrows slightly. Princess Yuling was still saying, our Night Empire has already felt the immense pressure of this calamity on the main battlefield. Do you know how many Scarlet Empires are besieging our Night Empire now? Princess Yuling asked. 3. Zhou tried to give a number. This was already quite bold in his heart. No. There are 6 of them. Princess Yuling said this shocking number, with a solemn expression. This is only an Empire-level Scarlet force. In addition, there are at least 500 Kingdom-level Scarlet Lord factions wandering inside and outside our Night Empire, constantly attacking our Night Empire, and the surrounding Empire-level factions and Kingdom-level factions. Right now, there are nearly 1 billion Scarlet monsters fighting constantly around our Night Empire. There are also more than 10 Scarlet God spirits. It can be said that Kingdom-level Lord factions are constantly being destroyed by the Scarlet faction at all times. I'm afraid even the Empire won't be able to last long. The situation is not very good. Zhou's face turned green. Fuck. You call this situation not very good? Princess Yuling, aren't you too big-hearted? Zhou had thought that even if he could not be said to be a strong force when he came to these 2 empire camps, with the 20 million troops he currently controlled, he could at least be an outstanding leader in the war with the Scarlet faction. In the end, 1 billion Scarlet troops and more than 10 God spirits stunned him. In front of these 1 billion soldiers, the troops led by Zhou were only a small fry, not to mention those true God spirits. The reason why he could kill a god last time was more or less because of the advantage of the Absolute Light and the Holy Light Sword, the 2 law skills. He did not think that he would really be able to fight them fearlessly just because he killed a god spirit by luck. Moreover, Zhou did not dare to imagine. If the Night Empire was already in such a state, the Elven Empire, which was countless times larger than the Night Empire, was facing the siege of the Crimson Kingdom and the Scarlet Empire. He had thought that joining two empire factions would be a huge advantage for him. He never expected that there was also so much trouble behind this advantage. If he was not careful, he might die in this event. Is there anything I can do? Zhou was silent for a while before saying. Since he was here, he would take it easy. Since he had already chosen this place, he should complete the faction quests well. However, he had to be careful next. A battlefield of this level was not something he could do as he pleased. Same old rules. He had to be cautious. Yes. Princess Yuling nodded after hearing Zhou's words. However, this matter is a little difficult. If you're willing to accept it, I can arrange other quests for you. She said. Tell me about it first. Zhou did not refuse and asked first. There's a Divine Sword Empire 62, 5 billion kilometers away from our Night Empire. That's also one of the 5 great empires of our human race. The tribulation of all races is coming aggressively this time. I'm afraid it's very difficult for one single empire to survive this calamity. Therefore, I want to send you to the Divine Sword Empire to find His Majesty the Sword Emperor and communicate about the cooperation. We wanted to send someone ourselves. However, the empire is surrounded by scarlet monsters now, and our military strength is stretched thin. We can't spare any extra strength to do this. That's why I want to give you this important task. Princess Yuling said seriously. 62. 5 billion kilometers. That's very far. How can I get there? Zhou frowned. Don't worry about that. At that time, we will give you a map along the way. On the map, the location of the various spatial teleportation arrays will be marked. Through the spatial teleportation array, you and your army can cross billions, or even tens of billions of kilometers, in a short period of time. It's actually not difficult to reach a distance of more than 60 billion kilometers. The difficult thing is the enemies you will encounter along the way. Princess Yuling said solemnly. We all know the importance of the spatial teleportation array, so the enemy naturally knows. If there are no surprises, those spatial teleportation arrays are either controlled by the enemy or completely destroyed. Retrieving the spatial teleportation array from the enemy is the greatest difficulty of your trip. How is it? Are you willing to accept this mission? Princess Yuling asked. A mission notification that he had not seen in a long time appeared in front of Zhou as soon as she finished speaking. Chapter 597 Legendary Tier Advanced Grade Faction Quests. Night Empire Camp. Princess Yuling has issued you a faction quest. Alliance name, Faraway Divine Sword Empire. Quality of quests, Legendary Tier Advanced Grade, Highest Unique. Quest content. The terrifying enemy of the tribulation of all races makes the Night Empire feel immense pressure. They have no choice but to go out and find allies to seek support. You need to lead your soldiers away from the Night Empire and rush to the Divine Sword Empire to seek help. During this process, you need to snatch back at least 12 Legendary Tier Advanced Grade Spatial Teleportation Arrays, 0/12, 26 Epic Tier Advanced Grade Spatial Teleportation Arrays, 0/26, 114 Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Spatial Teleportation Arrays, 0/114, from the Scarlet Lord forces to open the path between the Night Empire and the Divine Sword Empire, allowing the Night Empire and the Divine Sword Empire to exchange needs, and even teleport the army and experts to support and cooperate. If it succeeds, you will obtain the friendship of the two human empires and other huge benefits. However, if you fail, disappointment is inevitable, but you could also lose your life. Please think carefully before making your choice. Mission reward: 100 million faction points, diplomatic relations between the Night Empire and the Divine Sword Empire to be upgraded to the level of respect, a Death Sword selection opportunity in the Death Sword Demonic Abyss, the loyalty of 10,000 Empire-level combat class, Army Extermination Knights, 1,000 Legendary Tier Mist Cores. Prompt: every time you open a spatial teleportation array, you will be rewarded with a portion of faction points. If you choose to give up the quest halfway, this portion of faction points will not be retracted. Zhou looked at the reward thoughtfully. He looked at the quest and felt a little emotional. A legendary tier advanced grade top-notch quest. There was no higher-level faction quest than this. It was really as he had thought. His choice to come to the Empire's camp had indeed brought him great convenience. If he went to a Kingdom/Empire camp that he was unfamiliar with, he might not even be able to stand out from the thousands of lords and obtain the most basic faction quest. Unlike now, a top-notch faction quest was directly sent to him. It was his decision whether to take it or not. He looked at the quest for a while. Finally, his gaze landed on the mission reward, and could not help but be tempted. The 100 million faction points alone made him very excited. If he could obtain this amount of faction points, he could completely reach the top of the Empire faction points rankings. He might even be able to enter the top 10, or even the top 3 of the Lord faction points rankings. If the diplomatic relations between the two empires were upgraded to a respectful level, it would also make it easier for him to do many things in these two empires in the future. As for the Death Sword opportunity in the Death Sword Demonic Abyss, even though he did not know much about it, being able to be on the same level with the previous conditions meant it should be an extremely good reward. The loyalty of 10,000 Empire-level combat class. The Army Extermination Knight was needless to say. Every Army Extermination Knight was an Empire-level combat class. Each of them was an existence that could fight against 10,000 people alone on the battlefield. They could even destroy an army alone. This was also why they were called the Army Extermination Knights. Zhou only had more than 100 of such terrifying individual combat strength. If he could obtain the loyalty of these 10,000 Army Extermination Knights, his strength would definitely increase. As for the last 1,000 legendary tier mist cores, they were the rewards he did not care about the most. At the thought of this, Zhou almost wanted to agree to this princess immediately. Fortunately, he still asked 2 questions carefully and calmly. Your Highness, what if we discover a damaged spatial teleportation array and can't repair it? Don't worry about that. If you decide to take on this mission, we will naturally equip you with the corresponding team of spatial teleportation array maintenance team. At that time, they will be in charge of this. Are there any more questions? Princess Yuling asked. Yes. If we can use these spatial teleportation arrays to travel unimpeded to the Divine Sword Empire and complete the mission before returning, how long do you think it will take? If everything goes smoothly, it will be about 10 days. If it's faster, 7 days might be enough. Princess Yuling thought for a moment and said. Zhou heaved a sigh of relief. It was fine then. The King of 10,000 Kings event lasted for a month. It was not impossible to spend 7 or 10 days to obtain 100 million faction points. If he encountered trouble that he could not resolve halfway, he would give up on this mission at most. In any case, this quest did not give up the punishment. When the time comes, at most, he would only receive faction points as a reward for opening the spatial teleportation array. I can take this mission, but I want to ask your Highness for a small favor first. The lords I brought are all lords of the Cerulean planet. They are also my subordinates. I want to bring them along to complete this mission. Can your Highness raise their diplomatic relations with your country to the extent that they can join the faction? Zhou said. That's simple. I can do it now. Princess Yuling asked. With that, she closed her eyes. 2 to 3 seconds later, she opened her eyes and looked at Zhou with a faint smile. It's done. Their external relationship with my Knight Empire has already reached the initial acquaintance level. With such diplomatic relations, they can already join our Knight Empire's faction and accept our Empire's faction quests. Thank you, Your Highness. It's just a small matter. Don't worry. Then, the two of them chatted for more than half an hour about the details of this faction mission. Then, Zhou left the palace and met up with his subordinates and lords again. Seeing that everyone had successfully joined the Knight Empire's faction, Zhou sought their assistance for this legendary tier advanced grade faction quest. With this assistance quest, they would also obtain some faction points and some other rewards when they went out with him to complete missions. In addition, even though it was only an assistance quest, it was also an epic tier advanced grade assistance quest. The faction points awarded were also quite shocking, enough for them to surpass the other lords of the myriad races in many factions. Your Majesty, where are we going now? Are we going to do the quest now? The paper immortal lord asked expectantly. There's no hurry. Princess Yuling has to deploy a team of spatial teleportation array maintenance teams before we can set off. Let's go to the Elven Empire first, and see if we can also accept a high-yielding faction quest in the Elven Empire. When the time comes, we might be able to do both faction quests together. Jojo said. No one had any objections. Then, everyone used the spatial teleportation array to return to the back Blazing Sun Kingdom. After they left, Princess Yuling walked out of the palace and looked at the spot where they were. He clearly knew that there would be many dangers on the way to this quest, but he still dared to accept the quest. Is he simply confident or arrogant? She muttered. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.